Broadcasting live from global headquarters at RP Enterprises in Greenwood, Missouri.
Stand by on this frequency.
After 22 years of entertaining FM radio listeners across the U.S., this man is the owner and executive producer of the award-winning Heartland Waterfowl on Sportsman's Channel, CEO and founder of Dumar Chemical Solutions, and the man behind the mic of Papa Ron Radio voiceovers and production. He's the man, the myth, the legend, a global icon, future Nobel Prize winner, and of course he paid me to say all this.
Really?
Literally. Welcome to the Papa Ron Podcast. Here's your host, Ronnie Phillips. Ronnie Phillips.
After taking a week off, we're back! Yeah! The Papa Ron Podcast is back. I don't have any excuses. I just had too much going on in life to have a podcast last week. So for those who blew me up, what? There's no podcast this week? What am I supposed to do? Sorry. Do better next time. Welcome to episode 11 of the Papa Ron Podcast. I want to thank not only my guest for tonight who's in studio, who I will introduce momentarily, but I want to thank those hardcore fans, and there are a few of you, a handful anyway, that listen and are dedicated to listening to this podcast each and every week, and it really does mean a lot. So thank you so much for not only the encouragement and the support and for listening, and of course. So this week on the Papa Ron Podcast is a guy who, I'm telling you, he's someone who I don't get to talk to as often as I would like. But when we do talk, it's like we pick up right where we left off. Been a friend of mine for roughly 15 to 20 years. I met him from my days working at Q104 in Kansas City. And at the time that I met him, he was a young, aspiring musician with the sights on the golden prize and to go into Nashville and making it big. And then really made a name for himself in and around the Kansas City area for being, if not the best, one of the best country musicians in the metro and really beyond. Because he's not only played around Kansas City, he's played various music festivals across the country. For example, like Country Stampede in Topeka and others. I'm sure we'll get into that in just a moment. Without further ado, let me welcome to the Papa Ron Podcast in episode 11, my good friend, Travis Marvin. Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Yeah.
Papa Ron.
Did I tell you how the whole Papa Ron name came about?
No, I wish I could. Just tell me.
No. So, well, I have Heartland Waterfowl.
Of course.
And everybody on Heartland Waterfowl team has a nickname.
Okay.
And I'm the owner and executive producer and co-host of the show.
Sure.
So kind of a father figure and far and away the oldest guy on the team. So it's really a crack at my age, and it kind of rhymes with Papa John Pizza. And so it was like Papa Ron. So it kind of stuck. And then when I was going through everything that I was going through, I was like, hey, I don't want to call this something other than the Ronnie Phillips Podcast.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was like, let's give it a little flavor and call it the Papa Ron Podcast. Just kind of rolls off the palate.
I like it. It does.
Yeah.
Papa Ron Podcast.
Travis Marvin. We have been friends for, like I said, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
What do you recall? I'm trying to remember. There used to be a country bar. This is where you were introduced to me.
Okay.
And and you weren't even there. I was at this country bar doing an appearance it was like a Thursday. No, actually it was a Wednesday night bull riding event. Uh-huh. And it was out there actually not far from where I live. Not far from RP Enterprises.
Yes.
What is the name of that place? Just right off 291.
Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse. That's what it was.
Unreal. I can't believe I just remembered that.
Yeah.
Crazy Horse Saloon.
Good job. So I was talking to a mutual friend and he was telling me about this new local artist, Travis Marvin and Hammerdown. Was it right. Hammerdown? T Marvin Hammerdown. That's right. Yeah. And then he recorded some videos on his cell phone and he started showing me these videos. I was like, man, that guy's really talented. Yeah. And it wasn't much long later that you and I met and we've been really good friends ever since.
Yes, sir. Yeah, crazy.
What's so I guess let's go back. Where are you from?
Ottawa, Kansas.
Ottawa, Kansas is where it all started,
Yes,
but it hasn't always been music.
No.
You know, it's not like you got out of high school and you said, I'm going to be a full-time musician. You did have a full-time job, and in fact, you were doing like computer programming or something like that, right?
Yeah, well, computer systems administration. So I started out, I went to college after high school, went to Washburn University in Topeka.
Wow, you decided that you were going to spend some money.
Yeah.
That's not a cheap college.
No, it sure wasn't, because it was private then. It was not public at the time.
It's not private anymore?
It's not private anymore, no.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe like 2 years after I left, it seemed like it went public.
Okay.
So,
so the idea out of high school was that you wanted to be a computer nerd.
No.
What did you want to do?
Ready? I was going in business, marketing, and management.
Okay.
So marketing and management degree was my degree.
Gotcha.
Still is. And then, while I was there, I was in the Phi Delta Theta fraternity house. So I was living on campus because Washburn's one of the non-traditional schools, a lot of non-trad students. So if you were there, you lived on campus in most cases if you stayed. So you got in the fraternity house and got there and I think it was my sophomore year. Yeah, sophomore year. I'd kind of started working. A couple of the alumni have given me some jobs as a freshman, and I did some real estate stuff. And then in between my sophomore and junior year, we had met a guy on an airplane ride, actually coming back from Colorado. Me and 9 of my fraternity brothers. We'd gone on a little ski trip. And we had decided, this guy I sat beside started telling me about this computer job he had.
Okay.
And he wanted to, he was curious if maybe in the summertime we would, sorry, this was spring break actually. It was when
Okay.
we were out there. So he was curious in the upcoming summer that if I was wanting a job. I said, I haven't really thought about it, but I probably need one. And so he explained about how they had this contract work with Sprint at the time.
Okay.
And basically it was taking old computers out of place and then transferring all the old information from the old computer, putting it onto a new computer, put the new one in, and send the old one back to the lesser.
Okay.
And it was and he was like, a monkey could do it. And
you were the monkey.
I was a monkey, but then he said, hey, you got 9 fraternity brothers behind you, bring them all with you. So we literally went all 10 of us went to Kansas City, did the interview with the whole team there, and it was an easy process. I got paid $16 an hour.
Okay.
And all the other guys got $13 an hour.
Wow, look at you, Captain Cool Pants.
Well, I'm the one that talked to the job. I'm the one that got it done.
A little referral for you.
Exactly. So we did that. I did that for a whole summer, and then started obviously then getting into IT. That's kind of where it came from, and really that's where it started. We did that for a whole summer, and then the guys kind of got done. We went back to school for our junior year. That was the year that 98. And they had then started online schooling. That was the first year that online schooling started kind of everywhere, actually. And so I got a phone call from the same company saying, hey, we'd like to have you come back. Would you be interested in doing that? I'm like, well, I got to go to school. We understand that, but what if we paid for your schooling? The rest of it. Like,
Okay.
not a bad idea.
Sure.
So I took it. Nobody else did from the house. They all kind of stuck around. And I did kind of like the living out of the house, but still being an active member. And basically I traveled all over the country, tons, and basically doing the same job. Then 9/11, well, it was before 9/11, graduated in 2000, kept the same job, kind of started advancing more where we were using higher end technology versus where we started out with an Ethernet cable and a floppy disk.
Yeah.
To the job, we had moved to a CD-ROM, which was kind of a newer advanced technology.
Yep.
And so the process was a little bit quicker, and I think they liked how I was able to do multi-systems at the same time. So they kept me on, and then eventually I moved into the main line, actually, I guess, with Sprint. They hired me in versus being a contractor, and I started actually managing the project itself nationwide. So we went from having, a bunch of people that traveled, spending all this money, to, hey, let's have a national group that doesn't have to necessarily travel, but they're available in each city. And so it was a lot of organization and getting people and sending out instructions. And so that's kind of where computers fell. And then I went from 9/11 hit, they canceled the project, everybody quit spending money.
Yep.
I got released pretty quick, went to the help desk on Sprint for about 1.5 years, 2 years, maybe 3, I guess. And then got tired of that, and my uncle actually got me a job at KU, your favorite college.
Not accurate. That is not accurate.
We'll talk about that later. Hold on. So I got.
No,
the
let's
job.
make sure that is not my favorite college.
Okay, that's
Yeah, carry on.
I got a job there at KU and worked there and got married and during that time frame and I don't know, spent there I guess about 7-8 years. And then I'll keep going if you want.
Well, let's get to where the music became, where you got the music bug.
I mean, so music's always been in my life. I mean, my family, my grandfather, my dad's dad, was always musically inclined and played electric guitar, and it was something that our family every Sunday we go over and visit them at their place in Osawatomie, Kansas, and which is where I was actually originally started out. I was there till I was 6, and they moved us to Ottawa. But every Sunday we'd go to their house and sit and after church and play country music all day, every Sunday. I mean, that was, my dad sings and plays acoustic, and my grandpa would play the lead guitar and sing some too. And so that's kind of where the music bug hit me, and that was early.
Is that how you learned how to play guitar?
5-6 years old. No, I didn't really pick up a guitar until I was about 16.
Okay.
So I started out on keyboard.
Really?
So that's how I learned how to play, I think, what rhythm was about. And
Sure.
how to play the rhythm, because they would let me play a solo, and it would be the rhythm of the song. You know? And so it was early on that I learned, I think, and that helped me with probably pitch, and it helped me with where I'm at today vocally, I think too. So we do that every Sunday.
But did your dad teach you to play guitar, or did you actually take lessons?
No, I didn't take any lessons. I think I took piano lessons for about 2 weeks, and then I didn't want to practice because I hated it. I hated practicing. Who doesn't? I think every child goes through that. And
I took piano lessons.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah, right. So
became a drummer.
Right. Bang on it, boy. No, it was more, for me, it was just more, I liked, I think, the challenge of learning it without practicing it. That doesn't make any sense. By ear. I learned by ear.
Okay.
I can hear things and then go and recite it.
Gotcha.
Especially on keyboards. I can still do that today. It's not as easy on a guitar, but I still can find it usually on a guitar too. It's just a little different.
I mean, if you know the basic chords, then
yeah.
I
mean, that's kind of where it's at. So I didn't learn any music theory, which I kind of regret. And it's not too late. I probably still could learn the theory. I know nothing about it. I suppose I know like the bass clef, treble clef, and I know the notes, the name of the notes. But other than that, I didn't really.
So when did you decide that, was it even after you got out of college and you got married that you were still doing the family tradition every Sunday, getting together, having family meals and playing music?
Yeah. So my grandfather passed on when I was a junior in college. My grandmother had already passed on, and she passed on early on, way earlier. But he had finally passed on my junior year in college, and it kind of stopped after that, obviously. And before that, he was in the nursing home for 6 years, I think.
So there had to have been a moment. There had to have been some sort of that moment where you said, I'm pretty good at this. Maybe I should perform.
Yeah, I think because I was in high school, I was in all the choirs and I did all the plays, musicals.
Yeah.
It continued on into college. I was in men's choir. I actually went to college thinking I was going to be a music major. I didn't tell you that. But then the music teacher said, if you don't want to make any money, then don't be a music teacher.
Okay.
Or if you want to make money, don't be a music teacher. He's like, don't be a teacher. And I was like,
kind of need to make money.
Well, I kind of want to make money, and I don't want to necessarily. Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm as good a teacher as I was as doing it.
So what was the moment? Where was that moment that you decided that I'm going to pick up the guitar and I'm going to get some buddies together that know how to play other instruments, and we're going to put a band together. We're going to perform.
Well, I think I always wanted to do it through college, even, and I just never did it. I didn't know how to. I didn't make. I didn't research enough, or I guess have enough drive to figure out how to start a band. Who do I talk to? Where do you go to find those guys?
Was there a self-esteem issue there? Were you worried about being good enough to do it?
There could have been. I think it was more of a timing thing than anything, really. You know,
distractions.
I mean, tons. You know, I was busy. I was a guy that was, you know, I was president of my house. At the same time, I was president of IFC, the Fraternity Council of all the fraternities. You know, I was president of the Senate. I mean, I was busy. Every day of the week we had something going on, you know. And so it was, but really what happened was, and I got done with college. You know, my ex-wife, I say ex,
at the time,
wife then at the time,
yeah,
went to KU to get her graduate degree and master's and everything, PhD, all that stuff. She got all that done, and got a job at KU. And then, you know, we had went to Brazil. She was a teacher for English as a second language.
Wow.
Okay? So she had gotten a contract through Georgetown University to go down to Manaus, Brazil, and basically teach English as a second language at the university. And so I'd gotten a leave of absence from KU because I was then working at KU. And I got a leave of absence for a whole year, and I moved to Brazil.
Wow.
And lived with her.
I never even knew that.
And probably had some of the coolest, best experiences that I know I'll never get to have again, probably. I mean, I can say the things I've done, seen, been around, and of all levels, from rich to broke in the bottom.
Yeah.
Because it's a third world country, obviously.
Yeah.
So learned a lot of Portuguese, you know, and then we did that whole year. And then they came back and said, you know, we'd like to have Summer, was her name, come back, and because she's good at what she does and still is today. And we kind of kicked it around and really said no at first because we were ready to come back. She made a truckload of money doing it. We were going to come back, build a house, have a family. We were going to start it off. So still at this point, music is not.
You're how old then? 21, 22?
26, 27.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was.
A little bit further along.
Yeah, I was 26, 27.
Okay.
And so we decided, though, that after we told them no for the second-year contract, that they'd come back and said, you know, we'll double your money. And we were like, that's almost $1 million. Okay. We can hack it out for a year.
Yeah.
We can do this. You know, I can go back home. I can work, pay some bills, you know, because obviously I had to come back to take care of where we lived and everything else for that matter. And so we did it. And then things kind of got, you know, weird after about 6 months in. We were talking 2 or 3 times a day, went to like once, twice a day. And then, you know, maybe a month later it was once a day. And then a month later it was every other day.
Yeah.
And it kind of just started digressing, if you want to say, instead of progressing.
Right.
And that's when I just knew something was wrong, you know? And really it was, it you know, after talking and doing some research, I suppose you could say, on my end, because obviously I was in IT, so I was pretty good at nosing around through lots of different ways. I found out that she was having an affair with the guy that the mother, the person that owned the university, her son, which was our host family, he took me to the airport to let me go home. So she got, you know, so we talked, obviously, and I pretty much gave her an ultimatum saying, come home or else this isn't going to work. I mean, come on. And then didn't hear anything for a while. And then she called me and said she was pregnant.
Whoa.
What do you do? What do you do? What's a guy supposed to, so as and you know, I don't want to bring religion into this, but as a religious person, and you're there now, you get this.
Yeah.
You know, there's not many excuses to get out of a marriage. Okay. I'm a firm believer of that. You make it work. Yeah. You have to, you know, I mean, but, and it's in the Bible that, you know, when this sort of thing happens, it's kind of a way to get out and to be okay with it. You know, like you're forgiven, like it's a forgivable exit, I suppose, if you want to call it that. You know, and I contemplated it a lot. At first I was, you know, thinking, well, I'm gonna have to work it out because that's the way I was raised. You figure it out. My grandfather and grandmother would whoop my ass. You know what I mean? I'm just saying they would.
I believe you. Yeah.
And so, I contemplated for a long time, but I think it came down to the point where you just said, you know, I don't think I can stare at that kid, and it's not the kid's fault.
Yeah.
But there's no way I could look at that kid every day and be okay with it, you know. So we got a divorce. She came home, filed for divorce. Actually, I didn't know that was happening, but she snuck up on me, and I was pretty distraught. And obviously, you know, she was my high school sweetheart, first girl I ever dated, first girl everything, and I'd never dated anybody else before that. So she was it. And so, anyways, got divorced. And I lived with my older brother for a while, and just kind of got my bearings and got my feet back underneath me. And at that point was when I was making really good money, dang near six figures with KU, and had certifications and was pretty darn good at what I was doing. I just decided I wanted something different. Of course, she still worked at KU too. She was still doing contract work with Georgetown University, but also had a job at KU. And why would I stick around to that? So I just decided. I said, you know what? I'm going to try something different. And I started at that point playing guitar. I already played guitar when I was 16. When I was 16, my parents bought me a guitar, and I played it, and I wasn't real great at it. I didn't take lessons. My dad would show me the kind of the structure of a basic C, D, E, G, D. Those things, A. And from there, I just didn't know anything, but I had to kind of figure it all out. But anyway, so when I decided to do the music stuff, I thought, I better figure that out a little bit better. So I kind of taught myself, I guess, the rest of the way.
So let me interrupt just for a second. Did you leave KU then, or did you just decide I'm going to still continue to work at KU, but I'm going to pick up this guitar and I'm going to start pursuing this music thing too?
Right.
And was that just more of like a therapy situation where you needed to keep your mind busy, you needed to stay active, you were depressed, you were heartbroken,
sure,
all of the things that came with that divorce?
Sure.
What was the kind of, I guess, explain that. Was it therapy? Was it, what was?
Yeah. And yes, to answer the question, I basically was keeping my full-time job where I knew I was guaranteed a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Sure.
I'm dumb sometimes, but I would think I was trying to be smart about it, at least keep that until I knew something would work with it. But I kept that job and started teaching myself. And yeah, I think anybody that goes through a divorce is, especially if it was obviously a great marriage and a great marriage until that day. Like there was nothing in before that was going to screw anything up. I don't know if we fought ever. It was more of a bad choice that was made. Yeah. Which at that point I blamed myself for. And it took me many years to realize that I had no control whatsoever in it. And that's how I got released and was able to, I guess, be healed from it, right? But in the meantime, yeah, I think I surrounded myself with music because as a young child and as bringing up through that was something that I always looked forward to every Sunday. Yep. I loved it. I think it was one thing that, I can honestly say today, looking back and going through all that stuff, if it weren't for music, I'd be dead. And that's a bold statement.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Very true. There's nothing light about that. That's
so you get the divorce, you turn to the guitar, for lack of better ways of putting it, for healing.
Sure.
So what is the time frame then from when you pick up the guitar, you're still working at KU, you're teaching yourself to become more efficient with the guitar. What's the timeline between then and when you start playing with other guys and say, hey, we should put a band together?
It was, I would say probably maybe close to a year.
Okay.
6 months in, what I started doing was, it's funny because I used my KU laptop. Don't tell them. It's illegal. It's the rules.
Okay.
I had loaded a bunch of karaoke tracks onto the laptop, right? As a Mac. So, and I bought, at the time I had one amplifier that you could plug both a microphone and a guitar into, right, instrument. So you play through it all, and then in the back of it, I could actually plug the laptop in using the coaxial right, left,
sure,
red, white.
Sure.
And then the little jack plugged in the side of the laptop, push the space bar, boom.
You had a band right there.
Toby Keith's playing with me, and we're singing along together. How do you like me now? You know what I mean? And so I started doing that. There was one bar in Ottawa. It was kind of bar and grill that I played at. And then I started going to Lewisburg, Kansas. Has the what is that? Something not Iron Horse, but it's got the horse out in front of it. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I don't know the name of it.
I can't either. But anyways, that's where I started playing. Between those two places, I was kind of going, once every other weekend, and they were letting me come in and play. And I think they were letting me do it. What, did I look professional? Hell no, not even close, because I had karaoke tracks. Probably barely playing the dang guitar,
Yeah.
But I was trying hard, but I think I did have stellar vocals. And I think that drew a lot of people in, actually. I started getting some sort of following,
Yeah.
They would want to know where I was playing at. The Book of Face wasn't real then, so they didn't have that kind of promotion yet. But,
yep.
But, and then there was one point that when it all started was at that place in Lewisburg, as I was sitting there playing with my karaoke tracks, getting better on guitar too, mind you. A guy came up to me and said, he said, "Hey, have you ever thought about having a band?" And I just kind of looked at him. He was older.
And so how long have you been playing solo, basically?
Maybe 4 months.
Okay.
Maybe.
Not long.
But like 8 months into between being divorced and deciding I'm doing it.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you,
Right,
now
not
you've
long.
got the courage, you've got these music tracks, you've got your guitar, you're actually performing
Right.
on your own
Not long
in
ago.
all these small bars.
No, maybe 4
4
months.
months.
Yeah,
Okay.
4 months.
And so somebody who obviously recognized your talent.
Yeah, and he was an older gentleman, and he said, I've got a buddy of mine that plays bass, and I play guitar, and if you're interested, we'd like to talk to you and see what your goals are and see what your values are in life, and maybe we can start a band together. At that point, I was like, it came to me. I didn't even have to go find it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I agreed. So the next night, we went up to his house, and it was out by Lewisburg, and a place called Freeman, and his name's Mike Newsom, and so we ended up auditioning a drummer. We agreed with our values of life and what we thought about things and how we really wanted to lead our lives. There's, in other words, no alcohol, no drugs, no, and we hired a drummer, Jeff, and Reese played bass, and there's T. Marvin Hammer down. Like literally, that was it. And to that point, I'd never played on a stage still. And our first show was we did a Yallapalooza. It was a contest that if you won, you got to play.
I remember that.
And it was
holy crap.
And it was downtown.
I forgot about this.
It was downtown at some bar. I don't remember the name of the bar, but
you sure it wasn't at the Beaumont Club?
Nope, it was not at the Beaumont. I promise you that it was not the Beaumont.
Okay.
But we got to play, and I remember playing. We had rehearsed for it, and I thought we kicked the shit out of everybody there. In fact, I know. In fact, today still I'll say we did.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. But
well, obviously you won, right?
But no, we didn't win.
Oh, really?
We got second. We got second to this girl. She's still in Kansas City. She works.
Rose.
Yes, Emily Rose. Yeah, Emily Rose.
Holy crap! It's all coming back to me.
He said she won.
Okay. So this is all coming back to me. I remember this because obviously Q104 was the radio station that hosted Yallapalooza.
Yes, they were.
And so we have this contest, and I don't remember the preliminary contest that you're speaking of.
Yeah,
but I do remember. This now brings us back to the club or to the venue at Harrah's, which now is driving me crazy.
Me too, but I'll figure it out in a minute.
But it was at that venue where we had the finals.
Okay.
And I had to be the person that came on stage to announce that Emily Rose had won the opportunity to play at Yallapalooza.
Nice.
And I also remember Roby being in that.
Yeah.
Jeff Roby was in the finals for that too, because Rob Piercy, who's a friend of mine, was managing the band Roby.
Yep. He's from Ottawa actually too.
And I remember him being in the finals, but I don't think you and I yet had a relationship, or it was very surface.
Yeah, no, what happened that night was I remember, we got the second place, which means losing, by the way. I'm just that competitive.
Yeah.
I was
like Tiger. Second place is first loser.
30 years old, and I was like, this is bullshit. That's how I felt. And I felt like, vocally wise and just entertainment wise, we killed her. But there was some crowd of participation that was part of it too, and of course nobody knew the hell I was. And Emily, I think, had her whole family there. But
and let's face it, I mean, not that Emily's not talented by any means. No. Emily did a great job.
Emily was great then.
Yes, great. You felt like that you.
I was being competitive. Okay, it was the first time I've ever been on a freaking stage.
Sure.
So that's just the way it was. But I remember walking out the door after everything was done. We put our stuff away, and they had announced whatever, and so we left. And as I walked out the door and took a right, I mean, I can envision it all. Walking down the sidewalk, this guy walks up behind me and says, "Hey, hang on a second." And so I turn around, look at him, and he introduced himself. "I'm Mike Kennedy." I said, "How you doing, Mike?" And he explained how he was a program director of Q104 and this and that. And then he said, "Where are you from? Who are you? Travis Marvin?" I said, "Yeah." Where are you from? I said, "Ottawa, Kansas." "How long have you been doing this?" I said, "Well, this is the first time I've ever been on stage." And he literally at that point said, "Did a great job. You really did." And then he said, so do you have any shows or anything? I said, no. He said, you want one? I said, sure. Where's it at? He said, a place called Whiskey Tango is out on the outer road out there in Green Valley, Missouri.
Yep.
He said, it was Deanna Carter?
Deanna Carter?
Yeah. I don't think, no, that wasn't her though. Who sings, dang it, why can't I remember now? But he said, hey, I want you to do this show. Now he said, now it's free, but I want you to open up the show. He said, I think he'd be a good fit. And that my very first show on a big stage was that night. Opening for
How was the
artist.
band? So you go back to the band then and you say, hey, the program director at Q104, which by the way, I never knew this story.
Yeah, they were standing there with me.
Okay.
They were right there. We were all walking out
Were
together.
they like, no, wait, we're not going to do a show for free? Or did they
No.
think, hey, this is our opportunity to get some exposure and be in with the radio station?
Well, I think the guys at that point, we had been rehearsing for a while and we'd been together. And I think at that point, it was called T Marv and Hammer Down. So I was the face of the group. And yes, they were older, but I think even at that point, we'd already gained a trust. And I mean, if I said we're going to do it, we did it.
Okay.
And like I said, when we sat down, we talked about our values and what was our goals. And one thing I said we're going to do is we're going to play free for as long as it takes to build a fan base. And at some point, we're all going to make money.
Yeah.
But we're not going to make money up front because if we do, nobody will hire us. They don't know who we are.
Yeah.
But I promised the guys, I said, but I promise you play well. I will put on a show that within probably 1 to 2 visits, we will be getting paid. Like they're going to respect us and they're going to want us to come back because we're going to have that much fun. It's going to be good. Basically put up or shut up.
Okay.
We're going to put up and we're going to make things happen. And that's what happened. I mean, it was from then on, it was nuts. I mean, it couldn't have been any better, honestly. And I mean, I don't know, a lot of people can say their very first real show was on a stage opening for a national act.
Yeah.
And from that point on,
it really was.
The list is this long. I mean, I can go through, you name it. So.
Well, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into what really propelled after losing a contest and then having the program director at Q104 chase you out of the building to get information and how that relationship then sparked where we are today.
Sure.
Travis Marvin is the guest on episode 11 of the Papa Ron Podcast.
The Papa Ron Podcast is brought to you by the award-winning Heartland Waterfowl, airing now on Sportsman's Channel. Check heartlandwaterfowl.com for air times. The all-new Season 9 debuts in July on Sportsman's Channel. And don't forget about the new original series on the Heartland Waterfowl YouTube channel. Check it out and don't doubt the scout. Now, back to the Papa Ron Podcast. Here's Ronnie Phillips.
Actually, Heartland Waterfowl is on the air right now. Season 9 has been released. You can check the show on Sportsman's Channel 5 days a week. If you're listening to this podcast, you can even find it 3 days a week on Sportsman's Channel Canada. But some of the air times you might want to look for: Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Let's just give Central Times because the majority of the people listening are Central Time. So Tuesday at 1 p.m. Or you could be watching on Thursday at 7:30 a.m. If that's too early, you can catch it at Saturday on, I guess that would be 1:30. You know what? These are Central Times. I've screwed this all up, I think. So Tuesday at 2, Thursday at 8:30, or Saturday at 2:30. There you go. Heartland Waterfowl.
I'm a
Sportsman Channel. Check it out.
2:30 kind of guy.
Well, you're actually a late night guy. You might be able to catch it on Friday night. Well, you're usually doing a show on Friday night, but 2 a.m. you can catch the show.
Oh, no, we're done about 2 a.m.
There you go.
Yeah, let's walk in.
Travis Marvin, our guest, a friend of mine for many, many years.
Yeah.
And we're really getting into the meat of now where Travis Marvin really becomes a name, a household name, as they like to say, in Kansas City. My old boss, Mike Kennedy, legendary Hall of Fame, Country Music Hall of Fame, radio. I said that all wrong. Country Music, Country Radio Hall of Fame. There we go.
Got it.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's a legendary program director. I was honored to work for him. Learned a lot from him. A lot about, He taught me many valuable life lessons as well.
Sure.
Like, hey, Ronnie, you screwed that up. Let's not do that again.
Right.
So anyway, he was great. But he chases you out of Harrah's and says, basically recognizes your talent and says, I want to help you out and I want to get you some shows. You do a show at Whiskey Tango, and then it seems like it was shortly after that, like whenever Q104 had a show,
Every time.
aside of maybe once in a while he would throw a bone to one or two of the other local guys. But it was often that if there was, whether it be Lollapalooza or something at the Beaumont Club or a birthday bash or whatever it was, T Marv and Hammer Down was opening up the show.
Yeah. That was our goal. We never intended that in the very beginning. I mean, it was just kind of something that fell into place. But like I said, it was one of the things I told the guys is, if we just play and keep our heads down, stay focused, don't care, because in the very beginning too, the guys were always worried about what everybody else was doing. Yeah, that Noe Palma guy, I'll say know his name. Yeah, that Noe Palma guy's playing.
Guy was in my wedding.
Yeah, he's playing this and he's doing that and he's doing this and I'm trying to think of the other groups that were around then. Hazard County, these guys are doing that. These guys are all doing stuff, and I always say, look at them and say, so what? They're not us.
Yeah.
We're doing this. Put your head down, drive forward, and let's not give a crap about what anybody else is doing, because if we do, we're going to be distracted.
Yep.
And I don't want to be them.
Yeah.
We're us. So just focus and trust me.
So you did the first show at Whiskey Tango, a Q104 show.
Yep.
And you did it for free.
Oh, yeah.
How long did that continue where you were doing shows for free before you started?
Probably almost a whole year.
Wow, that's a lot. How many shows do you think that was?
Probably 20 or 30.
Wow, really?
Yeah, we did a lot of shows for free, man.
But those weren't all Q104 shows.
No,
there's
not
no
all
way.
not all Q104 shows. I think maybe 8 to a dozen, maybe in a year.
So So of all of, let me get this right, 20 or 30 shows you did for free.
Yeah.
Okay, so were you still working at KU then?
Yes.
Okay. So were you doing any shows? Were you getting paid for any shows?
I think the only place we were getting paid, if I remember right, was Will Jennings. Remember Will Jennings?
Of course.
My best favorite. I wish would come back.
Yeah.
It was $300. $300, full band, play 4 hours, in a little bitty confined space.
Yeah, they're in the bar, huh?
They're in the bar, yeah. Every once in a while I jump on the bar and run on it. But I mean, other than that, that was kind of.
So how? And you had 5 guys in the band or 4?
Yeah, there was 4 of us.
So you just divided $300 5 ways.
Got it.
Wow. Wow.
And that was what it was called. I mean, here's a great thing: is once I guess, we can fast forward a little bit because I'll talk too dang much, man. You will have a 4-hour show right now, I promise you. And that is, once we
Joe Rogan's got nothing on the Papa Ron podcast.
Screw you, Joe. Once we got through, that full year of playing and started to make some at least name for ourselves and what we were doing, who we were. Because I started out with the guy. I was called the guy in the red hat.
Yep.
Okay. I always wore a red hat. I don't care where we were at. It was a red hat.
Why was that?
It was marketing.
Well, but
101.
It was premeditated.
Absolutely. I did that on purpose.
You didn't. I wanted to ask you that because I always thought it was by accident.
No.
I thought you just had this hat that you loved and it just happened to be red.
No.
And then people kind of started taking notice of that.
Mm-mm. Red is one of those colors. I mean, it could have been orange. I wanted to be, actually thought about hunter orange. And I was like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Time,
Yeah.
So I thought the next greatest color that people see, you can see from a far distance, is red.
Yeah.
So I literally told the guys, I said, I'm going to wear this red hat. I don't care what you guys wear. You can wear whatever the heck you want. Just jeans, at least, and be presentable. But I'm going to wear a red hat. I don't want anybody else to wear a red hat. It's my hat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wear the color red. And anytime that red hat would get destroyed in 3 shows, I'd be sweating it.
Sure.
It's got to be a red one I find to replace it.
Yeah.
And that's how it went. And you're right. People started saying, "Oh yeah, you're the guy in the red hat."
Yep.
My name's Travis Marvin, or T Marv.
Sure. That's what.
And then it kind of started evolving into that, and the brand was created, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So, and since then, I kind of.
Well, yeah. As in fact, I don't know if it was the first album that you came out with, but it was one of the first. The picture is of you actually holding
my red hat,
the red hat,
down by a pair of black boots.
I'm going to try to grab a screenshot of that and throw that on the video version of this podcast so that people can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's out there.
I actually also had this memory as you were talking about the red hat. I remember I don't remember if it was a Hot Country Thursday night or just a random Thursday. I don't even think it was a Hot Country Thursday night, but it was a random Thursday night at Power and Light District. I'm doing my nightly Thursday nights endorsement appearance thing that I did.
Right.
It was great. That by the way, that gig was great.
I know you were getting paid to show up.
I was getting paid to party.
Listen, I was the guy. I think I remember asking you, how much they pay you, man? And you told me. I was like, are you crapping me right now?
Yeah.
You show up and you get to have fun and sling drinks to people, and they pay you that kind of money.
Well, I mean, let's give everybody perspective.
It was $50,000 a night.
Yeah, it was.
It was like $300 or $500.
How do you think I paid for the studio?
Right. Yeah.
No
kidding.
It was not anywhere near that.
A couple $100, $300, $500.
It was $200 a night. I was $200, and I didn't have to do once in a great while. They would have me get on the microphone and MC like Jello wrestling or something,
right.
you know, or introduce a band. But it was literally like, Ronnie, all we want you to do is when you're on the air, say, hey, I'm going to be hanging out at PBR tonight. Come by, say hi. I'll buy you a drink.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not buying anybody a drink. The bar's comping it.
Yeah.
I didn't even pay for my drinks.
Right. Of course.
You know, I would give them a tip at the end, you know, for slinging drinks for me, but all my drinks were comped, and all I had to do was collect my cash and if somebody like, hey, T-Marv, let me get you a beer. You know, it looks like I'm buying you a beer.
Right.
So the psychology there was, oh my gosh, this guy on the radio is the coolest guy ever. I heard him on the air. He invited me down. He bought me some drinks.
Yeah.
Well, then there was this culture that was created, this mindset. Then all these people that, hey, well, this Ronnie Phillips guy gives out free beer and stuff. And so people would come down. So that was the marketing plan behind PBR to have me down. So anyway, we're at PBR on one of these nights.
Yeah.
And I'm probably giving you free beer. And we're talking about creating a brand, like a logo, a Travis Marvin logo. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And I remember saying, okay, brand.
Napkin.
Brand. Yes, we literally drew this up on a bar napkin.
True story.
And you were you had an idea about the T and the M inside the circle.
Right.
Which was kind of I'll just say rip off to the trademark, to the literal trademark symbol. Like if anybody gets a logo or they get something, a brand, then they get their brand registered with a trademark. And then that's where you see at the very low bottom corner of their logo is the T and the M and a circle around it. And you thought that's what you should do. And I was like, let's tweak that idea just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's think of country music and let's think of we're branding cattle and what the actual brand looks like. And so we put the T and connected the lower leg of the T.
Right.
With that being the first leg of the M, and then having a circle that came around but didn't go on all the way, so it looked like
there's a gap, like a brand.
Exactly. Yeah. And you actually went with it, and that was the.
That was it.
Are you still using that?
No, that one's gone. I had
the tread ran out off of those tires.
Stuff changes. What's funny is going back to that trademark thing. So when I was I don't know why I thought this random thought. Sorry, squirrel. Is back in the day. As a young child, you know how you had the trademark thing on. I thought everything belonged to me. That's how selfish I am. I'm just saying. Like my mom would get it. I remember getting a sleeping bag that it was Knight Riders, or not Knight Riders. It was the Transformers. A Transformer sleeping bag, you know, that zips up and get inside.
And then you see all the team. You're like, that's for
TM
me.
at the bottom. I'm like, that's mine. So then, of course, my brother's stuff. You know, like you're this is my stuff. Everything is mine in the store. It has TM on it.
That's so funny.
I raised a selfish kid. But anyways, and then, yes, the TM logo thing worked out, which is funny, though, because if you remember, the first one I did put out was just a full circle with TM in it, right?
Yep, and we tweaked it.
But before we tweaked it, did you know that Trademark reached out to me?
No.
They're like, oh, that's
Are you serious?
Yeah, which is stupid because I was nobody making nothing and no threat to them whatsoever. And I still got a letter. Saying
apparently you were something where you got their attention.
I think they were just bored.
Is that why we tweaked it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I remember that now. But I did forget that.
It is why we tweaked. So,
but the tweak was like, it
was a notch in the circle.
You basically put the T and the M in together.
Yeah.
And then put a little notch there at the end. Anyway. Yeah. So I do remember that memory, and you had that logo for a while.
Oh yeah, long time.
Okay, so do you still wear the red hat? Is that still or have you kind of?
No, I think I got away from that. You know, I think it ran its course. So I'm not like I got to have a red hat. And I think that, you know, over time, the at least people recognize, they know my name. You know, like now especially because I obviously went from T Marv to just Travis Marvin.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a full transition where, you know, you lose the first band and then it was more of a business decision on my part. You know, I think that transition only happened because we were at a fair. I think we were at a fair somewhere, and we had lost 2 big speakers, you know, that were several $1,000s worth of equipment, and it came down to us going, okay, well, let's buy new stuff. Well, nobody had any money but me. And I'm like, where the heck all your money go, guys? You know, like, and then I thought, well, this is a stupid decision. Business wise, this is ignorant.
Yeah.
You know, so then I made the decision, because again, I was the face of the group, that, you know, we're now going to only accept, you know, a couple $100, $150. I think it was $125. $125 a show is what each man gets. The rest goes into a kitty, because when this shit breaks again, I want to be able to buy it. I don't want to have to go spend my whole life savings on it, you know.
Yep.
Like, upfront. Yep. They didn't like it. I walked.
Okay.
I said, okay.
So now you got to get a new band.
So here we go. Like it was 1 week before we were supposed to open for Colt Ford at
Whiskey Tango.
Whiskey Tangos. Yeah.
I do remember this now.
Yeah. And that, and I might be mushing some stories together, because that was actually the first band that decided to do that when I made that move and went into Travis Marvin. The second band I had together, that when we broke up, it was 1 week before the Colt Ford thing. So that was that process was already in place with the Colt Ford show. I don't remember the timing on when we broke up that first band. I just know that that's why it broke up, though, making that decision as a business. You know what I mean? And it was looking back on it, I don't regret it at all. I think it was the greatest decision ever, because I've had plenty of situations where stuff broke down, or we lost something, or it fell out the back of the truck.
Well, it's either, hey, we do this as a hobby and a side hustle and make a little extra cash,
right.
Or for you, it's like, hey, how can I make this a career?
Right. Well, yeah, because at that point I had, I had quit KU.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had quit KU and went full time by 32, I believe, 31, roughly right in there, 31, 32, and I'll never forget. I mean, I went from making like $128,000 by then a year to the first year I sang music, country music, I made $16,000.
I mean, sounds like my Heartland Waterfowl story.
I was eating ramen noodles again. Like
actually, I made less than that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, so it was maybe dumb, but I loved it. It didn't matter. You know,
yeah,
it was. I had a great family that supported what I was doing, and
yeah,
I was able to live with the parents and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, going back forward again, it was that second band that came in, and then when we moved on to where it was just Travis Marvin, no more T Marvin Hammer Down, just Travis Marvin, and then that week before Colt Ford, and I had to form another band. So I've been through pretty much 3 bands for the most part. I think it's 3.5, I suppose. You know, some guys left.
You have it, and we're friends, right?
Yeah.
And we agreed that going into this podcast that we're going to pull back the curtain, get below the surface, and it was kind of no holds barred. So I'm gonna ask you that tough question.
Okay.
You have gone through a lot of different band members. It feels like
Several, yeah.
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
Do you? There's been times where it's just life circumstances where, hey, it's the end of the road, don't want to play no more, got kids, whatever you know. There's been times where you've had to let people go.
Yeah.
And there's been times where people have been really pissed at you.
Sure.
And they've quit.
Absolutely.
And I've run into those people.
Yeah.
You know, there's stories where we were at PBR one night, and I probably shouldn't mention any names, so I'm not.
That's fine.
But I remember, like, you and I were just standing there, and some guys came up to say hi to me, and you reached out to say hi to an old drummer of yours.
Yeah.
And he pretty much told you to fly a kite in the nicest way or the worst way possible, and walked off. And I was like, what the hell was that all about?
Right. I remember that.
And anyway, I guess the question ultimately is that, do you have any regrets with any of the, I mean, let's just, sorry, I'm stumbling all over my words, but with the people that you have pissed off.
Sure.
Do you feel like that you could have conducted yourself different, or do you have any regrets to where you're like, man, I probably could have handled that situation differently, or, because there is a handful of guys that don't like you. that
Sure.
you played with.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? I mean, I'm sure every situation is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But did you learn anything? Was it how you were treating them, or why is it that you ran into situations where there was kind of this revolving door with bandmates?
I mean, I don't think, looking back and just thinking about all the guys that we've been through and the guys that I know that are mad at me, I don't think I regret the way I handled any of that. My grandfather was a person that always told me, don't ever make a decision up front that's going to cause regret, and always take a pause and take a breath and then make the decision.
Mm-hmm.
But once you make the decision, don't ever go back.
Fair.
So fair enough, right? I mean, logical, just logical thinking.
Yeah.
And so, I don't, in all the situations where the guys left or the guys I had to get rid of, I don't think there was, I think there was always a choice, actually. It was their choice. I don't think I ever made the choice for them. It was more of a couple of the guys. One guy was his family was just interacting too much, wanting to do things. That's not how I work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pay their family. I don't pay his family to do the work. And so it was his choice. I said, look, you need to talk to your family and have them leave. And if not have them come to the shows. I love their support, but they're now causing their problems with sound guys that are trying to run our shows. And they're doing it for your support, but not in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Not for Travis Marvin, they're not.
Yeah.
Because this is my show.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was hard for me. It was hard for me to say that because
Sure.
I do not want to talk about me. I know maybe in this podcast I've said a lot of stuff, but it bugs me. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And even more so way back then. Way more. I mean, way more.
Yeah.
Way more. I've learned now that it's okay to be that way,
Mm-hmm.
just not be arrogant or cocky about it. But I would tell him that. Look, it's not your show. This is my show.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't hire your family to do them.
Well, it's your name on the banner.
Right. At the end of the day, I'm the one that has to answer.
Yep.
The check's written in my name. I write you the check.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm your boss.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a situation where that happened. So again, he had a choice. He said no. I said, okay, you're fired. It was that easy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't other things that happened were things out of my control in most cases. Like you said, I always put one thing, I'll say, and I'm very, still to this day, very strong about it. It's happened several times this year already. And that is family's number one. If the guys have a problem, there's something wrong in the family, I don't care where we're at, what we're doing, show's canceled, go take care of your family. Unless I can get it replaced. I'll try to get somebody. Right.
Yeah.
So family's number one. Number two is your job. If you have a full-time job that supports your family and puts food on the table, that's number two. It's got to be. I can't be number two. But I am number three. Because number one's your family, number two is your job, number three is me. You got to have some sort of commitment somewhere because I am paying you a decent income. I mean, when you're making $600 to $800 a week,
Mm-hmm.
you're making,
It's side hustle money.
That's pretty good side hustle money.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's more than 6 tanks of gas today. Barely. Don't get into that.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, come on, pal. Jesus. Anyways, so I don't think, in long story short, I have no regrets.
Okay.
Of any of the guys, and could I have handled anything differently? I mean, I don't think so. I know there was one individual that left that wanted his money quicker than I gave it to him. But again, I mean, that's not part of the process. So there are times that I'll pay them every single night, and there are times that I'll say, hey, here's a check. Don't cash it till next Tuesday. They're lucky they get it that quick in my eyes. Because if they play it in Nashville, they get it every 2 weeks, sometimes every month.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah, out there, it's every 2 weeks or it's once a month.
Gotcha.
And you get your per diems per day, that kind of stuff for food and whatnot. But other than that, you get your check once every 2 weeks or once a month. So
did you ever get your feelings hurt? Because some of these guys, look, I spent 10 years at this radio, at Q104.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of these musicians because a lot of these musicians will bounce around from one band to the next, or they'll sub in from one band to the next. So when it came to the local country musicians, I felt like the best ones, I knew them all.
Yeah.
So I'd hear stories.
Sure.
And these guys were mad. I mean, it wasn't just like, things didn't work out.
Yeah.
Had to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
To where you guys could still be professional and,
Right.
have a civilized, relationship. It was like, no, F that mother effer.
Right.
He can, so I guess the question is, do you feel that way with some of the, why is it that they're so mad?
Well, let's I guess I can't give you the honest answer or a true answer because I don't know what it is.
I guess you don't. That's fair.
It's their opinion or their feeling, right? I will say this, that I know a couple of the guys that were mad that probably didn't have a position to be mad, but were probably mad because they were jealous.
Okay.
And that was because of our success. And I'll say our success. Listen, I'll be the first one to say that I suck at playing this thing. I'm mediocre to mild to mediocre at a guitar.
Okay.
But I've hired guys and had the opportunity and been very grateful and successful at having guys that make me look damn good.
Yeah.
And I make sure they know it. I tell them that. I pay them that way, and they stay happy. And that's always been my goal as a businessman, an owner of a company, is to make sure that you keep your employees happy. Because as I remember going back in the computer days, working for Sprint, when all these high and mighty managers would walk out of the little cubicles, and be like, you guys are screwing up. And we'd look at them and be like, we're running the company. We're running the help desk. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have a damn job.
Yeah.
And you don't even know how to do half the shit I'm doing on this computer. Like they couldn't do any of it, but they had a college degree, high man. You know what I mean? Like I still think that's true to today to any company you walk into. Most of them are, unless you're a doctor, lawyer, or those type of positions. They're just high and mighty with maybe some experience or something like that. But half of them don't know how to do the damn job below them. And if it wasn't for the guys and the grunts below you, or the people that were running the company and that you were paying a lot of money to do things, you wouldn't look good. You wouldn't operate.
So you went through 3 different bands in your time?
Yeah, 3. And you know what? That's probably not bad because how
many years has it been? You talked about
13.
Yeah, that's really not bad at all.
No,
honestly.
I think it's, like I said, I've been really fortunate at having guys that didn't do drugs, that aren't alcoholics, that were very respectful, they were raised right in my eyes.
Yeah.
Which is just being a good person. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
It's really hard to be an asshole.
Sure.
It's really easy to be a good person. It really is. But I've been fortunate to have those guys. And I think that too comes with just being who I am. And when you meet somebody, you talk to them and you figure out real quick. I don't think I ever turned away a guy that I interviewed or wanted to come play with me. I don't think I've ever had a guy walk up and me look at him and go, no, he's a bad person. Because you attract those people. You normally don't attract the bad people. You guess you can. They'll take advantage of you, but
sure.
But not in a band. I think I had one guy that was like, I can play. I've been playing drums. It was a drummer. Go figure.
Okay. What does that mean?
I don't know. No, it was a drummer.
Go figure. It was a drummer.
I just remember a drummer come up and say, I've been playing for 10 years and I'm so good. And he sat down and played and we went, what the hell is he doing?
It wasn't so good, huh?
Oh, it was awful. We did, I think, 2 songs. And then we walked upstairs to talk about it. I said, get rid of him. Somebody go tell him. We're good. We're gonna pass on this one. Thanks for your time.
Sure.
Anyway, so and I've been fortunate at having those good guys, and they make me look great, and that's part of my success, if not a lot of it.
All right, so we're gonna take a break real quick.
Yeah.
When we come back, I want to talk about you've made a name for yourself in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And you're starting to get some recognition outside of Kansas City, and now your sights are going higher, and it's Nashville. It's recording contracts. And you're going to Nashville and you're recording with professional studio musicians and engineers. I want to get a little feel for what that life was like when we come back with Travis Marvin on the Papa Ron Podcast.
The Papa Ron Podcast is brought to you by Dumar Solutions. Dumar Solutions, offering affordable chemical and PPE solutions for any industry. Automotive, industrial, manufacturing, concrete, and asphalt construction. Also offering kitchen cleaners, corrosion control, and specialty coatings. Detergents, cleaners and degreasers, laundry care, floor care, odor control, personal hygiene, and much more. Do more with Dumar. Inquire with any of your needs at DumarSolutions.com Solutions.com. That's DOMARE Solutions.com. Now, back to the Papa Ron Podcast. Here's Ronnie Phillips.
A little bit later in the show, we're going to be answering some text messages. There's actually several that have come in, or at least a handful.
Sweet.
On any of these podcasts, you can interact with our guests at 816-558-6389. Some fun questions have come in, and so we'll get to those a little bit later in the show. So don't let me forget that.
I won't.
Okay?
No, we're good.
Travis Marvin, old friend of mine for many years from my days working at Q104. Wonderful, great friend of mine. And, I got to also just say this. Like, when I would hear these people that were other band members or former band members, and they would just be spitting venom and pissed off, like, I never saw that side of, I never saw anything that, and I only say that to say that you really are truly a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And like, I'm always excited when I see you're calling. You've always been like, hey, I got a new track. I got a new song. I want you to hear it. And you always know I'm going to give you an honest opinion on that. And so I say all that just to say that I really do appreciate our friendship that we've had for as long as that we have.
Ditto back. And I wonder if you remember this time that I did tell you, I do remember it. And again, it was at the great PBR bar.
A lot of things happened at the old PBR.
Right. I remember telling you, saying, Ronnie, if I ever get too big for my name or my britches or my face or anything else, I expect you to beat the shit out of me. Literally. Or not do that, but call me out.
Yes.
Call me out. Okay?
You never told me to beat the shit out of you.
I didn't either. That's awful.
But you you definitely said, you expect me.
Yeah.
Of all people, because I was very transparent.
You did that
with
anyways. Yeah, you always were. So I thought you're a good guy.
Not that I was a dick about it. I was respectful, but maybe sometimes I was a dick. I don't know. Some people would probably.
Listen, you may hear stories about me, but I've heard stories about you too.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it a bit. Because I am. I'm honest, and sometimes I don't coat it with sugar very well. As a matter of fact, speaking of Mike Kennedy, we're getting off topic here a little bit, but I got to tell you this story. I had a problem at the radio station because I was so blunt. I was so transparent that I had a hard time sugarcoating things.
Filter.
Exactly.
Yeah, you didn't have filter.
And I remember Mike came to me one day and he was like, hey, when you get done with your shift, let's go over to Kelly's and have a beer. And I thought, I'm getting fired for something.
Right.
What is this?
Yeah.
And so in typical Mike fashion, it's all small talk, and I got anxiety running through my body, and I'm like, just cut to the chase, bud. Why are we here having a beer? You would typically be on the golf course by now,
right,
or off doing other things.
Mexican food.
This isn't really where you want to be, but you're putting on a really nice front right now.
Right. And
I remember his exact words are, Ronnie, you're going to get a lot further in life if you learn how to shit sugar.
Yeah.
His exact words.
Shit sugar.
And I still suck at it. I will say I've gotten better. I feel like I've gotten better. I mean, you can't do what I do and run a business and be involved in a couple different projects and just be as blunt as I was.
Yeah.
And so that was probably one of the biggest advice lessons that I got from Mike Kennedy.
Yeah.
To shit sugar. Anyway,
shit sugar. Which is, you know what? I'll tie it to it. I'm getting worse. I'm getting worse at it.
Really?
I used to shit a lot of sugar. Yeah. I think as I've gotten older and further along, I mean, you can call it spite if you want, but and this ties in well with probably where we're going.
Yeah.
And that is I've gotten worse now at shitting sugar.
So let's get into it. So you really have gotten lifted up through the Kansas City region. I'm sure your self-esteem has been risen when you start getting called for doing gigs at like Country Stampede in Topeka. Sure. Yeah. Well, at the time, I guess it was in Manhattan, but
right.
You're playing all these other different like this isn't just Whiskey Tango anymore.
No.
I mean, you're playing in front of several thousand people, venues, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And so you're and of course by being friends with Mike Kennedy, and all the people at the radio station, we naturally have relationships with people in Nashville and record labels and other artists that have record deals, and they're recognizing you and their talent. And, it's giving you some thought like, hey, maybe I got a shot at the big I don't know what you want to call it, the big deal, the contract.
Well, I think yes, the answer is yes, but also too, when I started this thing, that's what I wanted. Okay, and I told myself, and this may sound egotistical, it's not. If I wasn't good enough to do it, don't start it. Don't start. I knew that I was good enough, vocally and entertainment wise. I was good enough to hang with anybody out of that city. Okay. When I started
in Nashville.
Nashville, yeah. I knew that I was able to hang with any of them. And as time got obviously further along, it was, in my eyes, it was basically, anytime I ever got discouraged, I promise you it was a God thing. Something would come straight in front of my face that would reassure me that I was going the right direction every single time. And whether it be an email from somebody out of nowhere, whether it be a phone call from somebody out of nowhere, whether it be, or just a fan walking up to me going, man, your song, holy shit, we love this, or we love this about you. So I guess if it was people that were helping build up my confidence level or whatever I was looking for, it happened every single time. If there was a second I was thinking, man, I'm kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm not, if I questioned anything, it would be like, boom.
Yeah.
Every single time. Not once did it not happen.
So you talked about the spitefulness. You're in this process now where you're like, okay, let's go for broke. Let's go for the big dream. Let's go for, a big Nashville recording contract. And you went to Nashville a lot. You probably still go to Nashville some. Tell me about that process. And I know it's a long process, right? So try to give me the condensed version of it, but like, I guess where I'm ultimately wanting to get is that being that I worked in radio for as long as I did and kind of saw how the system worked, there was some politics involved.
Yeah.
A lot of politics involved. So where was the hang up? Well, because you did have the vocals. Yeah. You had the entertainment, where do you feel like the bump in the road was that prevented you from getting you to ultimately where you wanted to be?
Well, I think there's a few answers. And I don't know whether they're right or not. They're my answers.
Okay.
I think that and I've talked to other people like Mike Kennedy who's given me his answer. And whether it's right or not, I don't know. But
do you believe him? I guess I kind of want to know the answer.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
Let's get to that first.
Okay.
So
give me your answers.
And really, it's not as long a story as you think it is, because here's the deal. I went to Nashville. Along this whole way of playing these years, I was able to, because I'm friends with Mike Kennedy, because I'm even friends with you guys, I was able to watch. I'm really good at observing things. I can stand back and know you in probably 5 minutes and know Q in 3. Nothing is Q. Just saying. It'd take me a little longer to know Ronnie. But I'm just saying, so I'm a good observer. I can sit, I sit back more than anything and just listen most of the time and watch. And so through this whole process, I'm doing that about Nashville. I'm finding out about, from friends that are out there about the good and the bad and the ugly. And a lot of it was not good. Honestly. I said good, bad, and ugly. I think it's like a 10, 50, 40 kind of deal.
But you kept, but it didn't discourage you from trying.
It didn't discourage me, but what did was, so I moved to Nashville, knowing what I know, knowing the people that I know, knowing some of the people I've been connected with. And as soon as I get to Nashville, I move out there. I have some friends out there that let me live with them on the lake, and I'll never forget it. It was CMA week, CMA Fest week.
Yeah,
and I'd been invited by, at this time I'd been invited by like CAA, one of the bigger agencies, right? They're like number 1, number 2, right next to William Morris and all those guys, right? And so I'd been invited to their party. I'd been invited to several other parties along the way too. So I go to all these parties. Me and the lady that I was living with, her husband was out of town, so she was like, "Yeah, I'll tag along." She showed me where to go because I didn't know where to go a lot. So we go to these parties, and I'm telling you, Ronnie, the minute I walked into every one of those doors, I didn't fit in for nothing. That's a double negative. What I mean by is
You didn't fit in. Why didn't you fit in?
Because I'm not the aggressive guy. I didn't have the aggressiveness to just to walk into a circle of people, which I saw as a clique, and say, hey, I'm Travis Marvin. I want to come in and just kind of intrude your conversations and talk to y'all. And what do you guys do? And I wasn't that aggressive guy. I don't have that aggressiveness in me. And I think it takes a level of arrogance. And it takes a level
confidence. Let's go with confidence.
Okay, we'll go with confidence, but from what I saw in Nashville, arrogance.
Okay, fair.
To intertwine with those people. So as I walked around the room, in CAA especially, because it's kind of a square, I would walk by each group and hear as they were talking, and generally they were talking about somebody else within the company or another person that was in the group or down the hallway, and I just kept walking, and every single group was talking shit on everybody. and even then, Ronnie, at that point in time, I still shit at sugar. Okay.
Yeah.
I still was a guy who truly cared about everybody I ever came in touch with, but I was seeing how it was almost like the devil was just in every group of individuals there. So I remember doing this. We went to 4 different parties. The 4th party, Lori, who I lived with, had to go home. So she went home. I was going to catch an Uber home or cab. It might have been Uber. I don't remember. Yeah, it was Uber. And so anyways, I remember after that 4th party, I literally walked out of that party, which was down by Broadway, walked down on Broadway and walked down that street and bawled because I hated the shit out of that town right then and there. I made a decision. This town sucks.
Really?
Yeah, I did not want anything to do with that city. And I only lived there for 3 months. People seem to think I still lived there. Some people are like, when'd you move back? I'm like, 5 years ago? I don't know. How long has it been? For a long time.
Huh.
And I just, at that point, I'd made a decision that
if you're going to get it, that's not the way you want to get there.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm just not that person. I don't want to talk bad about people.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy that gets my success off bullshit. You know, I mean, and that's hard because that's what this industry is built on.
So, but these were just the agencies. These weren't necessarily the record labels.
No,
right?
they were these were the agencies, but these were the writers. These were the kids that were younger than me. These were, tons of kids, lots of kids. You can tell they were all writers. Let me ask this.
Let me interrupt. So, how long ago was this?
Golly. 6 years ago.
Okay, so of those 4 parties, 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anybody in that group of those young aspiring musicians, artists, whatever you want to call them, that are on radio today that you recall?
Yeah. Brett Eldridge.
Okay.
Chris Young.
Okay.
Low Cash. Florida Georgia Line.
FGL, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is before they're even
FGL just rolled out with stuff. They'd already had crews out. Seemed like.
What I'm saying is, guys who were in the same shoes as you, trying to be that guy, be the next one, and they were just a gnat's ass away, and they're in the same clique in the same parties, doing the same thing you were doing.
Yeah,
but you were conducting yourself different than these guys.
Well, they just had their foot in the door already. They were already in the door. I'm the new guy. I'm the only new guy walking in that.
Okay, so I guess that's where I'm trying to I'm trying to ask is they already had deals, record deals.
Yeah, they had all had.
So who didn't? Who were people that you met that didn't have record deals that were doing all the shit talking and being a part of these cliquey groups that you were not comfortable in?
Yeah.
Who now have made it?
I'm not sure that anybody at that point that I remember meeting, and I don't remember meeting a lot, to be honest. Like I said, I listened.
You kind of just stayed back and kept everybody at arm's distance, huh?
Walked by and listened. That's all I did. I'd stand there outside of a group and literally just stand there and stare at them and listen for 5 minutes. Like, next.
So what would like a shit conversation sound like? I mean, you say shit talking. I mean, they're just mother effing other artists, other writers, okay.
Other writers, or I even heard them talking bad about their own companies, or, oh man, I didn't get that money that I was told I was going to get. Or I remember a guy talking about how he had just signed a publishing deal and the company had already gone under. and that he was just pissed off, and his girlfriend was trying to reaffirm his pissed offness. I mean, I remember her talking about it too, and comforting him and saying it was going to be okay, But it was more of and I remember several of those groups too turning around and looking at me, and literally turning their backs like, fuck are you? Why are you looking at me?
Yeah. Why are you eavesdropping on our conversation?
Kind of, it could have been that way, but it was more of a, I don't know. It's just not my world. It just wasn't my world. And
there
I
was
knew that.
nobody in Nashville other than the person you were living with that you clicked with, that you felt like, this guy's my jam. This is the person I trust. I can build something with this person.
Enzo, Enzo.
So
I only talked to him briefly.
For those listening, Enzo owns a management company.
Right.
So he manages several different artists like
Yeah.
Tyler Farr, Lee Bryce, just to name a couple.
Yeah. So they, and I talked to him maybe a couple of times. I don't know that there was a lot of people interested in who I was. And here's the thing. I'm not saying, I want to make sure I'm clear and say that it's probably my fault. Okay. I don't know that it's just necessarily Nashville's fault that I didn't make the next level and whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
I think that because I wasn't aggressive, because I wasn't,
You didn't
as
sell your soul
confident.
to the devil.
well, maybe, but I wasn't as confident, or I wasn't confident enough to, but still, and the decisions that I made not literally, like my grandfather said, I paused, I waited. I even went to 3 other parties, not just one. I saw group after group after group. And it was all the same, but it was a different situation, but it was all the same. It just kept going and going. And that's not who I was, and still am. I'm not that person. I don't want to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be put on a bus. I want to drive around the country. I want to sing great music, entertain people, and have them be happy. That's it. I don't want anything else.
So your perspective on what the end goal, was being a Nashville recording artist.
Yeah.
And some people locally say Nashville recording artist because they recorded a song in Nashville.
Yeah.
But what it really means to be a Nashville recording artist is that you've got a record deal with a Nashville recording, like a Nashville record company.
Record label.
Right.
Independent or dependent. Yeah, right.
So what my point is then is,
and I've never had that.
You decided that
was not my avenue.
That was not for you. You
No.
had to have been, well, I guess you said it. You walked down Broadway crying. Like,
I
you
bawled.
had to have
I was
been,
pissed off. I was so mad.
you're thinking country music. Like, it is the most wholesome,
Right.
heartfelt format that there is. And then you just showed up to Nashville and you just got blindsided by,
Yeah, I was crushed.
yeah.
I was absolutely crushed.
And that was 6 years ago?
Yeah.
Are you still crushed?
No, but that's probably when I stopped shitting sugar. Honestly.
Okay.
I think that was when I probably got a little spiteful about it.
So before then, I take it to the next level. Let's go back to Mike Kennedy.
Yeah.
What did he tell you?
He said that I should have stuck it out. That I should have jumped into some writing groups. I should have went to those writer rounds and did things and stuck it out longer. And that eventually, through my skills of writing and with my vocals, it would have got me something.
Do you think you gave it a fair shot?
No, I don't. But
okay. Well, so now I'm hearing two different messages.
Sure.
I guess. So what I'm trying to understand is that so you were there for 3 months,
right.
and then all you saw was negativity. So
Yeah.
you basically said, "F this, I'm out."
Yeah. And I'll add in one thing, and that is I played a show downtown at the old Acme building, which had been called the Underground. It was brand new that year. And I played a show. Shift was from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It was wintertime. And it was, and you had to play for 4 hours straight, no breaks. That's how they run Nashville. It's 4 hours straight, no breaks. You just play. I'm like,
Wow.
Shit. I'm not as.
Yeah, I gotta go.
I'm
I
not
got
as good
4
as I
hours
once
without
was.
a cigarette.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was more. Like I'm in my mid 30s. I'm not even. I'm not 20 years old. Holy smokes! This
Yeah.
is gonna smoke me.
Yeah.
But I did it, and I did okay because there was some groups there that had seen me out on the road with Aaron Lewis that were just having to be towns.
Oh, this was all after Aaron.
So they came, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They came and supported me, and then there was Budweiser guys that, because they were my sponsor that year, they'd come out too because they were in town. So I made like $450 in tips, which was good. But
Yeah.
but they were high end guys, they were tipping me too.
Sure.
But then the guy at the when I got done, I walked over to him and he handed me my check. So I just opened it up to say, make sure I read out the right person, right name.
Mm-hmm.
And it was $75. And I go, "What's this?" He goes, "That's your pay." I go, and I remember looking down at it going, and then my mind going, "Are you shitting me, Clark?" And I was trying to be nice about everything, and then he looked at me, he's like, "So I'll see you tomorrow." And I was like, "No." Because right then I'd made my mind up. I'm like, I can go home, even with the tip money I just made, okay? And that check, I can go home and kick its ass in one night and literally play for the 4 hours with 3 breaks.
Yeah.
And do it in the Midwest all day long. So why stay here? Why truly stay here? And so I think, I that's maybe why you're getting conflicting stories too, was that's in addition to everything I had seen and gone through during CMA Fest. And then I played that one show and that happened. And I just decided that, one, I'm not that kind of person. I don't want to be that way.
Sure.
And 2, I can make money at home and pay bills. Because again, I'm in the 30s. I got bills. I got shit going on. Real life's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not married any longer, but
so let me ask this: why did the mentality change when you went to Nashville versus what it was when you started Team Marvin Hammer Down? And I'm going to go back because you said earlier in the show that your mindset is that you were going to play for free for as long as it took until you built a fan base.
mm-hmm.
Why didn't you take the same mindset going into Nashville? Not that you should play for free,
right?
Because you got to make money, you got to pay bills, right?
Right.
We said this,
Yeah.
but like you made $450 in tips, and I know it sucks, but I mean, you think about all these aspiring entrepreneurs and people who are doing things, and you even think back when you started Team Marvin Hammer Down.
Yeah.
You knew the sacrifice that you were going to have to make in order to get from point A to point B. Why didn't you take the same mentality with that approach, with the Nashville approach?
I guess I don't know. I think I went out there already with maybe a little bit of arrogance. Maybe it was, for me, it was, always know your worth. And there are many things I've done even after my name became known in the Midwest, in Kansas City especially, where I was shorting myself. A lot, not a little bit, a lot. I was going and playing places just for tips because they'd ask me to come in and play. Well, we don't have a budget. Can you come play? Sure. I have a hard time saying no.
I get it.
Like it was so. When I went out there, I just didn't realign myself like I should have. Maybe I
have. You completely given up on the idea? Knowing what you know now, I mean, because when you went there, obviously you were blindsided by a lot of different things. But I just wonder, and we're friends, right? So
Sure.
We're just having real talk here.
Yeah.
I think about, I will use your example as, and I'm not trying to make this about me because this is about Travis Marvin tonight, but this is an example. I remember being in this is maybe a stretch, but a really good high school athlete. Yeah. And in particular, I was a really good cross country and track runner.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was recruited to run at the next level.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the coach for the college, like blowing up my phone, and we really want you, and we're going to give you one of the best scholarships of any of the guys on the team, and just making me feel like I'm King Dingaling, right?
Yeah.
And I get there, and the bar has been raised. I'm not just the only good runner there. Like
right.
There's a lot of other guys that are very, very competitive.
Yeah.
And this is not going to be as easy for me as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
So I guess as I use that as the example, like,
sure.
Like you went to another level, like you went, like leaving Kansas City to go to Nashville was like leaving high school where you were kind of the big fish in the pond.
Right.
To now going to a lot of fish in the ocean.
Yeah.
And I got a rude awakening when I went to college.
Sure.
To perform athletically.
Yeah.
At the collegiate level. So do you think maybe that there was some of that? Like maybe you just you weren't prepared mentally, psychologically. I can understand the ethics part. I can understand the morality and just being like, I'm not going to be that person. I'm not selling my soul to the devil.
Right.
I'm not going to conduct myself that way. But the end prize is, hey, I'm a $1 million earner, recording artist.
Right.
So this is the shit I got to go through. These are the sacrifices I'm going to have to make in order to get there, much like you started in Kansas City to get where you were one of the best.
Yeah. I don't know if that was really the case, but because here's the thing. I know that every musician that's out in Nashville is good. I've seen it. I've been there.
They're not Nashville if they suck.
Right. They're not. And they're not playing if they suck. I mean, it's everybody out there is damn good, and deserving of anything they can grab. Problem, like you said, though, is there's so many fish in the small sea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the whole idea of the industry being the way it used to be, which I hate referring to all that stuff. I hate talking about what it used to be, because we can't change that. But it used to be that you got discovered on Broadway. Those days are gone, man.
Well, they have been for a while.
They have been for 20 years.
Probably longer than that.
So the idea of going to now they call you get stuck on Broadway. That's how they refer to it. And when I got there, I think that my problem is that I had already put in a lot of years here in the Midwest, tons, right? 6+, I suppose, 7+. And so going to Nashville, I didn't really want to start over. Who the hell wants to do that? I just worked 7 hard-ass years somewhere. And not to say that maybe I should have expected that.
But that's where the arrogance comes in that you were talking about earlier.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it's the same at the same point, though. Like in most of those cases where the artist actually became something, they say it takes 10 years. It's a 10-year career before you're truly probably going to make it somewhere. Go back and look at Gretchen Wilson. Look all the years and talk to all the artists that have made it somewhere.
Yeah.
That have number 1 hits or top 10 hits on the radio, and they're going to tell you they were in Nashville for 10+ years.
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton, and you can talk about all of them. Well, I hadn't been in Nashville for 10 years, but I'd been in the Midwest for 7.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't carry over. Sorry, I know that as a reality, it doesn't carry over.
No.
And I'm 30+ years old. I'm 35+ years old.
So now you're going to be in your mid-40s.
So now I know the reality of me doing anything in that town is shit. Now, I can write. I'm always going to be able to write. I'm always going to have my mind, unless I, God forbid, get a disease where I lose it. I'm always going to be able to write. You can always write.
Sure.
Okay. But my singing abilities are getting harder every
You feel
day.
like you're losing it
Every
a little?
day. I'm not losing it. It hurts. It literally hurts.
The voice, the throat
my
hurts.
My ribs hurt. My body hurts.
You got to quit smoking as much as you do, man.
And if it was about smoking, I'd say I agree. But it's not, because I don't have a
I don't
problem.
know how many times you and I had a conversation outside of PBR that you were going to quit smoking.
And I'm going to fight this because I don't have a problem breathing.
Okay.
I don't have a problem getting through my notes or finishing things. That part's never changed. I've got a problem with my muscles in my ribs around my rib cages. I don't know what it is. I can't heal it. They don't know what it is either. They can't heal it. I took a 2-month break, and it still doesn't work. It still comes back. I still fight it all the time. So as I'm getting older, your body can,
it should happen. Trust me, I get
everything
that part.
goes downhill, right?
Q, how much slower do I move from one year to the next, right? Yeah.
I mean, you got readers on, right? We
right,
talked about
exactly.
This. I mean, I'm just saying. So that is becoming more of a reality, and that unfortunately is out of my control. Now, I can control my health somewhat to a certain extent, right? I mean, look at Aaron Tippin. Look at guys that are studs that are in their 60s, 70s that are still singing. And I'll still be in that spot. But I think that the reality of being an artist that is going to be next top level, that's gone. It's out.
So let me ask this then.
Yeah.
And I pause because I don't know how to ask it. And it's not that I'm scared to ask it. I just don't really know how to ask it.
Shoot it.
First of all, this is a statement before the question. You're
Okay.
too freaking talented to give up on your dream. And I don't give a shit how old you are. Okay.
Yes.
There are many old people in Nashville still making a lot of money
Yeah.
performing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So shut up with all the old talk. 'Cause
Well-
just let me
Yeah.
finish.
Great.
So the people that have made it then as a Nashville record label recording artist,
Mhm.
are you insinuating that they sold their soul to the devil? Like the only way that you can get ultimately the grand prize is that you have to sell your soul to the devil and be somebody that you are not. And you've decided that if that's what I have to do to get the gold prize, I don't want any part of it. Is that the only way to get the gold prize? Is that a fair question?
I think it's a fair question. I think though that there's different situations probably, but like for example, I believe that it's a fair question in the simple fact that the answer would be yes. I mean, what is the devil though? Define the devil.
Well, I guess the devil is being somebody who shit talks and is negative and who's not trustworthy and everything that you said that made you feel uncomfortable.
I think you have to have some of that in you. Yeah, you have to. You have to. Hey, and listen, I will not be the first one. I will be the first one to say I am not perfect, okay?
Nobody
I don't
is.
want anybody to think that I'm perfect
No,
by
no,
me
no, no.
saying that you got to be the devil and you got to shit talking this and that. And I'm sure I've talked shit somewhere on somebody. I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've had a bad day.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I've been angry. I've been spiteful lately more than anything. I've stopped shitting sugar many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that too. I think a lot of those guys, somewhere along the lines, yes, they had to sell part of who they were to get what they wanted. And
Once they get to where they want, do they get to go back to what they want to be?
to
Or
a
do
certain
they?
extent, sir.
Yeah.
But you better be an A-level artist and tell me how many of those there really are.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, because you're still under the thumb of everybody and everything when you.
I mean, and here's the thing. I thought about this earlier, man. This gets me really fired up. So I got to
go for it.
No, I gotta
Go
be a
for it.
little
Here we
calm
go.
about
Turn
it
the hat
because-
backwards. Let's get serious.
No, I gotta stay. This is what pisses me off the most. Okay, this is what I've learned through the process of music. This is where I'm really super, super spiteful about the music industry, and you're not gonna like it. You're not, because I think, and this could hurt my career possibly. No, not really. I think radio's bullshit. Wait.
First of all,
listen.
no.
Okay, fine. Let me finish this whole thing.
Go for it.
I think radio is bullshit. I think that country music labels are bullshit. And I'm going to justify all this for you. I'm going to lay it out on the line for you.
Go for it.
I think that Nashville, Tennessee used to be a very
Pure.
and wonderful city to live in. But after, you can tie this to any damn thing you want. You can tie it to corporate world. You can tie it to companies. You can tie it to our political stance if you'd like to. Okay? But I'm going to tell you this. This is my opinion. Great. Everybody here, this is my opinion. Fired up on the Papa Ron podcast.
That's right.
And that is that, why do I think that country radio is bullshit? Because if you as a listener ever think, and you do think, and most listeners think they create number one hits on country radio, you don't do shit. That's real. That's a reality. You think your phone calls make number one hits and your requests go into country music radio stations. You're wrong. You think that a lot of people call into radio stations to make requests. Again, you're wrong. There's a lot of radio stations that will sit there and say, we've got 10s and 20s and 30s and 50,000s of users and people that call in every day. They don't. Okay, it's all facade, smoke and fucking mirrors. And that's the reality.
Yep, it's true.
And I have no problem with fucking saying it. If you want to look at Bobby Bones, who did a very big thing, made a very big step one time on TikTok, and I saw it. And he put a reality video out there that said this. It said, if you think as a user you make a number one hit of song, you're wrong.
Explain to
It's the people in Nashville. It's the groups, the small number of people that have their hands around everybody's nuts and make every single decision. It's money, politics, bullshit.
Yep.
That's it. Money and politics equals bullshit. And people, for some reason, don't want to see that or believe it. And I can tie it to politics. Mm-hmm. I can tie it to television. I can tie it to anything in this country. And that's the part that so far, number one, has pissed me off the most, even though it's out of my control.
Yeah.
I'm only me that can control me and how I decide how things go. I get to make those decisions for me, and that's it. But when I see it day in and day out, as a person who's trying to advance his life and his career, and then I always said I didn't give a shit about politics. I didn't. I voted. Always who I wanted to vote for because I believed in what they were. I voted both sides of the damn fence. How do you like that? Sometimes it'd be a Democrat. Sometimes it'd be a Republican. Mm-hmm. It's who I believed in what was going to do something right for me. Mm-hmm. But at the same time now, I don't know who the hell's telling the truth. And a lot of people are going to say, well, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't have the answers. I don't.
Well, there's a difference between Washington politics and business politics, Nashville politics.
And music, there's a big difference. It's those guys in Nashville that make all the decisions.
The term politics, we're using generally as a way that you're conducting yourself to get what you ultimately want.
Right.
And it's all the under the table, handshakes and the rubbing of the elbows.
Yeah, and explain that. There are guys that stand with Big Machine Records, that stand with Sony, that stand with all these top 3 or top 4 country labels.
Curb, Mercury, RCA.
I'm looking at you as in the audience because I want you to see this. And they all sit at a table, or a round table, or a bar, or wherever it is, and enjoy their drinks and sip their wine and cocktails. And they'll agree on who's going to be number 1 this week. I'll give you this number 1 this week if you give me these 2 number 1s this week after that with my couple lower guys so we can get them some recognition and make us some money. That's how it works. If you want to go beyond that, go to American Idol. Go to what's the newest one right now? The chairs turn around.
Yeah.
Go to America's Got Talent. Go to any reality TV show The Voice.
Thank you.
Go to The Voice, okay? Go to any one of those shows. And from day one, they're a reality show. Mm-hmm. They have that shit planned out years from now. They know seasons from now who's going to win the damn show. They sit there and they recruit I've been recruited for like season 15 or 20. We're like a season 10 or 12 or wherever we're at. Like I've been recruited for way ahead. And they want you to fill this
for
paperwork.
The Voice?
Yeah, they want you to fill this paperwork out. And then you sit there and they come back to you and say, well, we don't really like that you're a construction worker. Can you be a flower garden guy? They want to mold you to being this person. If you think Tate Stevens worked on a fucking construction truck his whole life, you're wrong. That's how pissed off I am. And that's how pissed off I've been for a while. And you stop shitting sugar and talking about
Stop
things.
a second. Stop a second. No. I know you are. No. I don't want you to stop about being pissed off. I want you to stop, and I want you to confirm with me again that whole storyline. I know Tate. When I say know Tate,
yeah,
I introduced Tate, and gosh damn, what was the name of his band then?
Tate Stevens and the something driveway.
No. This was when it was. Oh God, this is gonna bug the hell out of me. It was an actual band that had been around. Anyway, they had opened up a lot of different shows, much like you did in the day, but it was prior to you coming around. Anyway, Tate was the lead singer of the band.
Oh, they had a bus. I know what you're talking about. Fiddle player.
Okay. Yes.
I know what you're talking about.
Is it Dan, the fiddle player? Anyway, he was good. Anyway, I got sidetracked. I knew Tate from that. That's all. That's the only way I knew Tate.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about his personal life.
Right.
But I did watch
America's Got Talent.
No, it wasn't America's Got Talent.
That's what he won.
That was X Factor or something like that.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
And
it was X Factor, yeah.
I did not realize that he worked for the city of Peculiar or Raymore or whatever it was.
Whatever, yeah.
Where he was on the street crew and all this.
I didn't
So are you telling me for a fact that he did not do that job?
If he did, it was for a month. If he did, like they made it act like.
So have you and Tate had conversation about that? And he says that's all molding to just have a storyline and it's complete bullshit.
No, we've never had that discussion. No, I can't say that. But I'm not stupid. I mean,
you're on like.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're telling me this is on the record.
Put it out there.
And you're saying that Tate Stevens did not do what they claimed that he did.
No way.
And you're confident in saying that.
No way.
Okay. Okay. Hey, I'm not going to
Oh,
argue
hey.
with you. If you believe it, you believe it. I don't know the answer to it, but now I want to have Steve
Have him on
the next podcast.
I want to be with him. When
I've got his number, actually. I ought to call him and say, Tate.
Did you really work for the city? Was that your livelihood? Like, did you pay your bills? Or did they, what do you want to call, what's the word you use? Did they increase the storyline? Because it's all about ratings, right?
Well, for them, yeah, of course.
For all the reality shows, it's all about ratings. That's why they put that shit on there. That's why they put the crappy singers on there to make it so you go watch it in the beginning. You know, they want to make it about all good singers.
Q's off microphone.
Luke Combs, he says Luke Combs just talked about that kind of stuff.
So this is where I'm going with this. Like, okay, at some point, where are we at?
I don't know.
We're
But
at an hour and 40. It's starting to get juicy now. And I knew we
ahead.
were going to get here eventually. You got the people like Jamie Johnson,
Yeah.
who Mother F's radio. You've got the people like, a lot of the Red Dirt guys do it.
Well, yeah.
And then Luke Combs. I don't know that but he's obviously being honest about some of what I'm saying is that there are the artists out there who see through the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
They see through the politics, and they were still able to make it, Travis.
Right.
So that didn't stop them from being who they were. It wouldn't stop you from being you.
No, it hasn't.
So I guess, like, I don't want you to give up on your dream, bro. I don't want
Here's
you to
the
give
thing:
up.
as I don't, and
You need another soda.
I'm not. Yeah, maybe I'm not.
What do you
going
want,
to-
Coke or
yeah,
Coke Zero?
Coke, please.
Regular Coke,
let
please,
it, baby.
Q.
Let it.
Thank
Q.
you.
I'm not going to give up on my music career. Okay. Well,
You're not going to give up on the
Restate
Nashville
that.
dream?
yeah. Yes, please. Nashville Dream's out. It is out. Here's why.
Okay.
There are. I guess if it becomes writing only, Nashville maybe could work. But from a musical standpoint, with all the technology the way it is, let me put it in front of you this way. I've spent $276,000 in 3 years on recording music. How much do you think I made back from that? Just put a number out there. Go ahead.
I think I've got
let's
a
get
pretty good
real.
idea.
Go ahead.
Let's say I'm gonna go with 15 grand.
$6,500.
Okay, I wasn't far.
No, you weren't far, but you do the math. And I know they're gonna say, well, that's and listen, I'm not saying it's all it's.
Is it because you had a Nashville engineer, and Nashville studio
I mean,
musicians?
my cost?
Yeah.
No, thank you, Q. No, it's.
Hey,
no.
did you put ice in that? Oh, okay. You want some ice in it?
No, it's good. It's perfect. Just like that.
All right.
No, it's more about like. I've never had a team of people that have helped me. Okay, I've always done everything since day one.
That's not entirely true.
Not
Don't you think
entire-
Mike Kennedy's been a big help to you? In a lot of different ways. Is this going to get you in trouble?
No, I'm not afraid to say anything.
Okay, then go
Not
for
at
it.
all. I think, I love Mike Kennedy, Mike Law.
Mhm.
I love Mike Kennedy. I've told him every day that I'm grateful for what he's done for me from the beginning on. I mean, he is why I was the beginning of T. Marvin Hammer Down.
Mhm.
From that point, I think I made my own run with what I was doing and how I was performing. I think the partial mistake I made was I put all my eggs in Mike Kennedy's basket. And I don't know that I've ever told Mike that exactly, but
What do you mean by that?
I've had a lot of people tell me that.
Listen,
Listen, Mike Kennedy is known for starting a lot of musicians' careers,
Mhm.
like Sheldon.
Mhm.
Rascal
Flats.
Rascal Flats. You can go through the names.
Yep.
You know.
I know him.
So when I found that out as an early musician or artist, why wouldn't a person go to somebody that's really truly super successful in doing those things
Mhm.
and hope that works for you? And I thought I had it. I thought I had enough to make that happen. And Mike, being the person he is, did not hand that to me. And I thought maybe he might. And I think that was where I made a mistake is by putting all my eggs in.
So you took Mike
Mike's
for granted.
baskets. I guess if you take it that way, I don't know that I took him for granted for sake, but I think that I planned on, as long as I continued my successful climb as an artist and opening for all the artists that I was opening for and doing the bigger shows and getting the bigger venues and traveling the road and doing those things, that I would get help along the way of, here's an agent that would love to talk to you. Here's a company that you can go talk to. Here's my best friend Jimmy Harnan at Big Machine Records that I think could help you.
And that never happened.
And it never happened. And
why do you think? Did you ever ask him?
No.
Why hasn't this ever happened, Mike?
I've never asked him. Instead, I asked him, where do you think I went wrong? And it was because I didn't stay in Nashville. So maybe he had that planned out for me. Maybe if I would have stayed in Nashville and I would have started writing more and I would have played those writers' rounds and I would have gained that respective level of still working hard, I might have got that, but I didn't do it.
Do you believe that?
Believe what?
That you left too early. Do you believe Mike that when he told you that you left too early and that you should have done X, Y, and Z, and had you done that, then there was still a chance?
I think to a certain extent, and I think that I didn't because I was overwhelmed with the size of Nashville. I was not aggressive enough. And I've gone back to that now how many times. I've said I was not aggressive. I'm not an aggressive person. I've never, do you know how many phone calls truly I've made to have a show? Not many. I've never reached out to somebody and said, hey, I'd love to play your venue. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know how to do it because I'm not that confident in that part of me.
Then you need to hire somebody who is.
Exactly. Thank you. I need an agent.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Give
Papa
me
Ron podcast right here. You heard it. You heard it here first. Travis Marvin is looking for an agent. He's looking for a pit bull that will go out and sell some shows.
I got someone now. I've got one working.
Do you?
Yeah, I got a lady working on it.
Good.
But I think it's.
Well, let me just. I want to get back to the Mike thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mike listens to this. Obviously, Mike and I have known each other for years.
Sure.
I know that he occasionally sees my stories because I can easily click on the story and see who's looked at it. And he occasionally sees that I'm promoting this podcast. So who knows? KT could see that I'm promoting this podcast with Travis Martin, Johnny Barnes,
maybe
any of these guys, Casey Brown, who's Lori Brown, who's all good friends with Mike Kennedy. They could potentially. Oh, Travis Marvin's on with Ronnie. I wonder what they're going to talk about. Point is, this could get back to Mike.
Sure.
And so I guess I'm not worried or scared about anything getting back to Mike because we're just speaking honest, truth conversation here, right?
I haven't said anything bad yet.
And all I'm saying is you have given me two different impressions. The impression is that Nashville is evil. It's the devil. It's, in order to get where you want to go, you have to conduct yourself in a way that I'll just, maybe not accurate, but I'll use the word sinful.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also heard you say, it's my fault. I didn't stay long enough. I may have, took for granted, again, I'm just going to use the term, I may be inaccurate, but took Mike for granted. I thought maybe it was going to be handed to me a little bit more because of my relationship with him and his, interest or evaluation of my talent.
Sure.
But what is it? Which is it? Is it both? Is it,
well, I think
because we've already established that there are artists that are similar to you in ethics and in character who have made it and they will call Nashville out just like you're doing tonight.
Yeah. I think I just didn't stay long enough.
Okay.
But at the same time too, in order for me to stay, I had to buy into the bullshit.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that either. So it's both. I mean, it's a little bit of both. And it can be. There's no reason why it can't be both.
And you don't regret that? You had to have known that you were going to have to, there was going to have to be some sacrifices. Or did you not? Did you think it was going to come easy?
I think that part of me probably thought it was going to come easy. Came easy here.
Was there any, was Mike telling you anything, or was there anybody in Mike's circle that were telling you, hey man, don't worry about this. You just go there, you hang out for a few months.
No.
You got this. That was giving you the reason to believe that, man, I'm in. It's just, I'm waiting it out. I'm going to be there.
No, I didn't
So-
talk to anybody about it. I didn't communicate with.
So
one
it was
person.
all assumption then. It was
Sure.
or presumptuous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have any mentors.
So this is what I'm saying, man. Like, look, you're holding yourself accountable for what you did.
Yeah.
You know, which is admirable in my opinion. Like, you had a dream, you got there, it wasn't what you thought. Maybe you got a little shell shocked, it made you a little sick, you were heartbroken. You know, it was like, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It didn't happen as fast as I thought it was going to happen. You know, now you know. Now you know.
Yeah.
Give it another chance, man. You know now. You're a smarter guy now. Here's another thing I always say. Q, tell me if I don't always say this. I don't want to be 80 years old and in a retirement home or a nursing home and look back on my life and go, damn it. I let that negativity stop me from trying.
Yeah.
I wish I would have tried.
Yeah. I don't think I can make the decision today. I think I would
That's
have
fair.
To, yeah, you know, I think
I'm just being a friend.
No,
saying,
I
man,
know.
you've got.
I know
you've
what you're
got talent.
saying. It's just a matter of, you know, there's.
Okay, so
I just don't like those people. I'm gonna go back to them, man. I mean, it's true. Listen. I did go to Nashville with a pretty good substantial amount of money. Okay, I had somebody that gave me a lot of money, and we went there and we did some dealings and he's full of shit.
The guy with the money?
No.
Who's full of shit? Can you tell me who's full of shit? You want to, but you don't know if you should.
I do, but I don't know if I should. Yeah, I'd love to.
So it's a record label?
Independent.
Okay, an independent record label.
Good friends with Mike Kennedy.
Ooh. I know exactly who you're talking about.
J.E.
Yep.
So, you know,
so what happened there? Did he
$30,000 a month? Gonna do this, that.
So no.
Shit all fell
through. $30,000 a month. What you were gonna have to pay
for cost? Yeah, to do the promotion of a song of single release and.
So you found an investor then that was gonna front that cost.
Oh, they fronted it. They gave it to me.
And you gave that to J.E.?
No, it was gonna be a monthly type payment.
But did you give him any money?
First month came up. No, hell no.
Why? What happened?
He wanted me to. The first month come up due and nothing had gone on. We talked about bullshit. You know, I'd made 2 trips to Nashville with the investor, sat in front, and it was all this was going to happen, and nothing happened. And there was always an excuse. And then, so I didn't pay. The second month came through, and we were going to do let's see, they had scheduled you're going to come sing at the Tin Roof on Demumbrium. And we're going to do a show. I need you to invite everybody you know as record labels or anybody you know that could hear your music. And when you get here, though, we're going to do a photo shoot first. We want to change you. We want you to wear a fedora hat. We want you to wear this and that, right? Okay, so are you feeling this?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm getting more pissed off again. So
go with it, brother.
So at any rate, you need to be this person. We need you to be more like the Midland guy. We want you to be... And so the whole time I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Like, nobody wears a ball cap anymore. I don't give a shit what they wear. That's what I wear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so at any rate, though, we're going to do all this stuff. So I make phone calls to the Enzo. I make phone calls to who's the guy that he gets tennis shoes like crazy? EJ. I call EJ.
EJ Burness.
Yeah, I call Burness up. I called like, we're talking 4 or 5, 6 guys, even guys that are huge, not necessarily in just music. They have a lot of money, lots, but they're involved in music. So I call all these guys, and they're coming to my show at the Tin Roof. They want to come. I'm paying $5,000, $10,000 to have an open bar. Y'all come in, drink all you want. I want you to listen to my music. I want to do something with that. 1 week out, I get a phone call. Man, I'm sorry, we couldn't get the Tin Roof booked. I said, okay.
Who's telling you this? J.E.?
Yes, and his partner. Meanwhile, too, we were supposed to do this photo shoot when I get there, right? Then the other partner calls me again and says, man, I'm sorry, dude, the photographer just bowed out. Okay. So I then call. I said, let's do this. You have a really nice house. Super nice. Got a great big nice backyard, nice cool deck. Let's have a party there, right? No big deal. I'll pay you for it. No, man, my wife, I said, send her to the fucking basement. Let's have a party. Like, I'm not, like, there's no bullshit here. I just went out on a limb, put my name out on my ass, called all these guys up who changed their fucking schedules to be at this party. Like, EJ was going to Texas. He was going with Danielle Peck or whoever. He's been doing with somebody. Mm-hmm. And so, man, we're there. I'll switch up some stuff. We'll be there. Whether he was going to be or whether he wasn't going to be, he was going to be. I knew he was. I knew he said he was. And then all that shit dropped. I mean, within 2 weeks, all that stuff was gone. And I had spent money on a guy to come and play at the Tin Roof with me to back me up. It cost me $800, and I paid him way before. And then just all this stuff, right? So even that we're 2 months into what supposedly I already paid like $50,000 for nothing, absolutely nothing. But yet he was going to work hard for me. He was going to do what it took to get me to the next level with Maybe. I want to get this song, this badass song. I love this fucking song. Those are the words. It's going to be great. Okay, I got the money. We're ready. And you only get one shot. You don't get more than one. You know that. You kind of get more than one, but one shot. When I say one shot, one shot when you invite the label guys out to come out and check you out.
Here's the thing. You get one real shot. One real shot.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound like it was a real shot.
And that was a bullshit shot that was going to cost me a lot of money.
I am really disappointed to hear that story.
And yeah. No, that's true shit. I'll show you the email.
Did you talk to Mike about that?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just going to keep it to myself.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I don't want you to say anything you're not comfortable saying, but they're bros. They're bros.
Are they?
Last I saw, they were bros.
Okay.
So obviously that did not go well.
That
didn't go over well.
I'm just saying, no. I'm just saying, think about this. Think about the music industry.
Yeah, I know, bro. I know. I mean, shit, I saw this. Oh.
So that's where I get. That's where I get my spite. That's where I get my.
You were sold on a bag of goods. Just do what you say you're going to do. It's the biggest fucking sorry.
All I want,
Mom and
buddy.
Dad are listening, and I just said the F-bomb.
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
Damn it.
I'm just saying, that's what. Yeah, you're right.
It's the biggest. It is my biggest pet peeve in life.
Yeah.
Like professionally, personally, whatever you want to call it. Just do what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
Shit happens. Things come up. Things come up. That's fine. I get it. You call me up and you're honest, hey, something came up, whatever. But don't string me along. Don't feed me a line of bullshit.
Yeah.
Just do what you said you're going to do. If you can't make it right the first time, make it right the second time.
And here's the thing. You know as well as I do. Walking into Nashville, Tennessee as an artist, I don't give a shit how much money you have. There is no guarantee.
Never.
You are a lottery ticket that's scratched.
Yep.
That wins 1 out of 6, 1 out of 8, sometimes 2 out of 25 times. Okay, do the odds. Go look at the back of the card.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they really are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, every 1 out of 6 are winners. And so even knowing that, I knew that there was no guarantee. I knew that.
Yeah.
But still, he didn't do anything that he said he was going to do. And he still want to pay.
Look, we're going to take a break here in a second, but I want to end this segment with how did that then, again, because I'm trying to visualize this. I mean, short of saying his name, we've called him J.E. Let's just call him J.E.
Yeah.
I've known J.E. for years.
Yeah.
I've known him because of, actually, I knew Mike. I knew J.E. before Mike, really. Yeah. I remember J.E. when he was representing Shane Minor, and they were coming from, they were coming through from Minneapolis, coming through Wausau, Wisconsin, at the radio station I was working at the time, and going to Green Bay, and they stopped by, and I think that was the first time I met J.E., right?
Yeah.
And he's a good-looking dude, got the great golden locks, great personality. I mean, he can sell you in a second, you know? And he's always been tight with Mike, right? So I'm actually very disappointed to hear that this went the way it did. Now, he might have a different story. And if he wants to come on a podcast and share his story, I'd love to hear it.
Please.
But how does this? Do you have a closure on it? Like, did you finally have a conversation with him?
My closure was a phone call. He was obviously riding his convertible, a little windy sounding.
Wind was blowing through his lovely golden locks.
And I just told him, I said, look, man, I don't like where it's gone. And I don't want to waste the one shot I have with the money I've got. And everything that you said we're going to do never has happened yet. And these are little things. These are little $10,000 things. Mind you, I've got $600,000 in my pocket. Okay, so you don't want to fuck off that money in no way, shape, or form, because usually it costs us an average of probably $1 to $3 million.
Okay,
to start a guy. So I know I've got a very tight budget to watch where it goes and how it goes. Got the talent.
Yeah.
Got the experience.
So you basically are saying this isn't working out.
Yeah. So and all I got back was, oh, T Marv, listen, here's how it goes. I told you it was going to be pretty rough in the start of it, and that things weren't going to quite go as right. Do I sound like him yet?
Yes.
And hey, man, my wife's calling me right now. I got to talk to you later, man. We'll catch up soon. Click. There's your fucking phone call. That's how it happened.
And you told Mike all of this?
Yeah.
And you're not going to tell me how his response was?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. All right.
Oh,
it's getting hot in here.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. We should have just let off the podcast with all of this stuff. All right, when we come back, T. Marvin's got his guitar. I want to talk about being on the road with Darren Lewis, and I want to talk about what is next for Travis Marvin. It's all coming up next as we finish up the Papa Ron podcast.
You're listening to the Papa Ron podcast. Keep up to date on new podcasts, new discussion topics, and future casts. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Search Papa Ron podcast and be sure to like and leave a comment. Now, back to the show. Here again is your host, Ronnie Phillips.
Wow. Papa Ron podcast with my boy, Travis Marvin. And I knew that we had a chance for this to get deep and below the surface. I didn't expect this, though. Yeah. And I'm not upset about it by any means. Yeah, there's a lot of validity to a lot of what you said. Some of it I can't speak intelligently on, but some of it I can. And I can tell you everything that you said about the listeners actually dictating artists going number one and the people calling into the show or calling into the radio station and requesting this song X amount of times. And that's what drives number one hits. You are 100% accurate. It is not. It is.
And that's unfortunate because that's what people think. And why is that? Because
at one time it probably was. Well, at one time there was probably that was what it maybe, and I don't know, maybe it was back in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But like, I mean, I only got into radio in the mid 90s. That's when I started. So like, I don't know how much of that was weighted towards that, but I will tell you this, that for many years there was a problem with pay for play. And then there was eventually there, all day long, was, and then
it still happens. Are you shitting me?
In a different form.
Right,
yeah. But
serious?
They would literally send the CD and they would send the CD, right?
Right.
And they would take the cash.
Yeah. Put it in their drawer and push play.
I don't have any. Yeah, here we go. So let's say, like right here, there's a $50 bill.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to send this one to Mike Kennedy.
Yep.
I'm going to go and slip that one in the
Thanks,
middle.
pal.
There you go.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And it's
nobody knows. He's going to open it up when he opens his mail, and then eventually, if you don't play it, then the money stops showing up.
Right.
Keep playing it, the money keeps showing up.
Right. And do you think that don't happen anymore?
I don't think money shows up in CDs anymore.
That's right. So let me ask you this, like, for example, like the Sirius the Highway. Okay.
Sirius XM?
Sirius XM.
Yeah.
You had to pay.
You what?
You had to pay for them to play your music.
Oh, I'd say I'm so far removed.
You do.
I don't know.
No, I mean, that was on my, with JE, that was part of the plan. It was.
You're going to give so much money.
$500 cost for Sirius XM.
So is he representing anybody who's doing anything?
I don't know. No.
You don't. I mean, he doesn't have like even a C-level artist on his label.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so anyways.
All right. Let's move on past that conversation. Anyway, I just appreciate the transparency.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I can tell you that is certainly 100% accurate.
Yeah.
For people who are listening to this podcast, it is dictated by the program director, if not the music director, depending on how much flexibility or trust that PD has in the MD,
Right.
that they're going to decide from week to week how many spins that particular record is going to get.
Yeah. I mean, there's I'm not going to get into who, but there's one radio station here in town that gave me attention, and now because of certain people leaving or doing things, they could give two shits about my creation. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's another one that loves to play my stuff. Doesn't every day, but still will. And if I call and ask, they'll spin it. You bet.
Wait a minute. I'm confused.
But it goes to show you that you don't, it's weird. Obviously corporate world, Odyssey. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Odyssey, huge. Mm-hmm. Owns all the Wolves, right? Wolves everywhere, plenty other ones too. They wouldn't look at my song if unless I have somebody from one of the large labels calling them, and I am producing what they want to call hits on their radio station because people are listening to them stations and create ratings for them stations. They won't give me the time of day, ever. It doesn't matter if my song's better than the Luke Combs current song that's out now, they still wouldn't give a shit because I'm not driving that listenership to help their rating to make them number one. Of course, which is odd because in the last 2 days I've seen Facebook posts from 2 different radio stations in town claiming they've got the number one morning show. So who really does? We're never going to know that. I mean, we could probably gain access to figure it out.
Yeah, but I know some people.
But you always want to say that you're the number one hit station. You're the number one this and that. It's all about driving.
I know. But here's the thing is that it comes down to, we're going to get into radio lingo talk, but I guess I'll just say this. If Q104 is saying that they were voted number one, they were the number one rated morning show. Yeah. Well, they might be with women 18 to 34.
Right.
They might be with males 25-54.
Right.
What is their target demo? Is their target demo, 1849 women? Right. Yeah. Right. Which it is, or at least it used to be. Women 1849.
Yeah. So it's not a full transparency.
25-54 obviously is the money demo, but
right.
You're and you win that, then hey, you're number one.
Yeah.
Of all the country stations, you're number one.
Right.
So you can say that. I'm number one.
It's just not a full transparency.
It's not full transparency.
Not at all.
I mean,
and that's just how we are today. That's how the country works.
Okay, let's move on from all of that. Let's move on. All right, so I want you to play a song or two, whatever you're comfortable doing. Mm-hmm. I also want to talk about where you're going, what the future is for Travis Marvin.
You'll be shocked.
Okay. And I want to know about what it was like on the road with Aaron Lewis, because he's really probably the biggest artist you traveled with, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know Aaron on somewhat of a level. He doesn't know me, right. But he's in, or was, I don't know. Is he still doing a TV show? Do you know? He was on Outdoor Channel there for a little while.
Yeah, but no, he's not.
And I remember, I think maybe it was Yallapalooza. He played at Yallapalooza at Starlight. It was actually, might have been my last Yallapalooza. I don't remember. Anyway, so he played at Starlight.
Was that Little Big Town too? That year?
I think so. That might be. I don't remember. Anyway, so we talked about me starting Heartland Waterfowl and at the time we were going to be on Outdoor Channel.
Yeah.
And we were, but we eventually moved to Sportsman Channel. And so I say all of this to say is that I get a pretty good feel who I think Aaron Lewis is. And Aaron Lewis is not your typical, he's, matter of fact, everything against what you were talking about Nashville. He's everything and you can tell me if I'm wrong, because this is just my perception.
Yeah.
But everything that you talked about as far as what Nashville is not Aaron Lewis. I feel like he's the guy that will give Nashville the middle finger. He is so right wing so conservative, so Second Amendment, so pro animal conservation, hunting, all of the things. But he was also, in a rock band, Stained, prior to, doing this country thing. So am I inaccurate in my assessment of who I think Aaron Lewis is?
No, I think you're pretty spot on, except for...
He's not going to give Nashville the middle finger?
No. Listen, when I first met him, absolutely. He would allow radio stations to come in when we were going to shows.
He would not?
He would allow them to come in and talk to him. He did not want to talk to them, though. So he played the game. So he played the game, but didn't want to, and really was always kicking and screaming about it. And most of the times he put the song "That Ain't Country" out, which was pretty much damning every station for playing FGL, right?
Yep.
That's every radio station, by the way. I'm just standing corrected.
No, you're right.
So, at any rate, I think that today, I think he still plays that role, but I do believe too that he got a little more laxed on it. I think his management company finally made him understand, look, you have to play the game a little bit.
But that's life, dude.
But
it doesn't matter. I got to play the game. Like some of the shit that I got to do dealing with the network for Heartland Waterfowl. Like there's some politics and some game playing that goes on there. It sucks. I don't like it, but I can't give it the middle finger.
And I still don't think that he does as much. I don't think he'll ever play the game. Aaron is a caring souled person. He's got a very caring heart that also is surrounded by darkness. And if you knew, the stories that I knew about him growing up, about his past as a child.
So he opened up to you personally about his past?
Yeah. I've
Did he do it in confidence?
I've read it, yes. Yeah, I would never.
What do you mean you read it? So if you read it, then it's not in confidence.
Well, I read it at a psychologist report.
Oh, okay. He gave that to you. Okay.
Yeah, he knew. I mean, I had to.
So we can't talk about that. It's essentially where we're going. That's fine.
I burned it, actually. It's gone.
Why? So he gave it to you?
Me and the bus driver.
Why?
Because I had to get rid of it.
No. I'm really confused right now.
Yeah, it was
so he gave you a psych report on him.
He didn't give it to us. It was stored in a storage unit, and he wanted it gone. Get rid of it.
Oh, he wanted you to. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Gotcha. So at any rate, Aaron opened up a lot. Listen,
you still keep in contact with him?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we still check.
Because I love the guy. I don't know him like you do, but I love, like, especially when he came out with the song about "Am I the Only One?"
Yeah,
and I think Ira Dean might have even helped him write that song.
Wrote that, yeah.
And I love Ira too.
Yeah, it's different. I'm not a big Ira Dean fan. I see a lot of bullshit. Aaron and I get along. It's weird because you would think that I wouldn't get along with Aaron because Aaron is everything opposite of what I am as an artist.
Like what? He's very transparent.
He is very transparent, and as a person, though, I don't see Aaron as a good person, and that's nothing against his character. It's just who he is.
Okay,
it's what he does. It's living on the road. It's remember we talked about this. You wanted to kind of hear the things I've seen in the back roads.
Right. So are you talking about the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or what?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And that I don't know if that makes him a bad person. I guess some people will say that. Johnny Barnes always says it doesn't make you a bad person. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't.
Just be nice. Johnny would say, "Just be nice."
Oh man, don't get me started on that. Yeah, I think that. But it was amazing that we got along so well, and it started in the very beginning.
Why do you think it? Why?
I don't know, because I think I know how to handle him. I know how to handle it better than most people do. If a person's arrogant, I can handle arrogance.
Do you think it had something to do with the fact that he saw something in you?
Yeah.
I mean, the person that he was, the stature of he was one of the, I shouldn't say the
Few.
only, but one
No,
of
one
the
of the
few that
few.
said, you know what?
Yeah.
I like you, dude.
Give you a shot.
Let's get
Absolutely. It's a respect thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he did. I mean, that was the first time we
So when
met.
somebody does that, had Nashville done that, let's say
No.
JE done that, let's say
Yeah, Jay
any of
did
the
it.
ad agencies did that, do you think that you could have, because it sounds like, you didn't subscribe necessarily to his way of living or his character, but because he was one of these guys who believed in you and liked you and he was giving you a shot to go on tour with him, then you kind of were able to
accept it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
So if you were able to be a little bit more accepted, quote unquote, by Nashville, do you think you could have looked past some of the dark shit?
Probably.
Okay. That's
Sure.
fair. I'm just looking for honesty.
Sure. Probably so. I mean, I guess, and I think if I would have probably had a mentor a little bit better, which would have just been me, which meaning I should have reached out. I never
You
did.
went to Nashville after the tour with Aaron, though.
I went to Nashville after. Yes.
Why couldn't have Aaron been that mentor? Did you try talking to him at all?
Yeah, he wanted me to live with him. We almost set it up to where I was going to move in with him and live, but I can't live that lifestyle.
Yeah. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby.
Just not. Like I said, I knew what I had to be around to get to what I needed and wanted, but at that instance, I did not have to live with it.
Did you tell him that?
No.
Why?
he doesn't. Why? What was going to change?
Just say, hey, man, I need you as a mentor,
What's-
but I can't. Your lifestyle doesn't align with mine.
Do you know what his answer would have been?
Well, fuck you.
Right. I mean, let's get
I just
real.
said the F-bomb again.
Yeah, again,
Sorry,
Mom.
Mom and Dad.
I'm just saying that's exactly what his answer would have been. He doesn't care. Aaron, truthfully, oh man, if it's not about Aaron, it ain't good. Okay, that's the kind of Aaron Lewis that I know, and I was okay with being around that. That's fine. I won't say we sat and had long, dark conversations over coffee. It was usually. They were always about him and where he was going and what he was doing.
So he never asked
who he was
about you.
doing. Fuck no.
He didn't want to know about you, your past, where you came from,
I mean,
your family.
sometimes we would have times where we sat down actually and would talk about things. About my family, no, because he didn't have a family.
Okay.
I mean, it was, we always got along though. There was only maybe a few times where I called him out and he didn't like it. But tough shit.
I can
But
see
here's
that.
the thing. The cool thing is that at least he was good enough to always respect me as what? An artist. The artist. Not a musician. An artist. His first words to me weren't when because I went on tour, that first beginning of the tour, I'd go hang out with the bus guys, the band guys, and sit with them. And somebody, I can't remember what happened, somebody came over, I was actually on Aaron's bus, no, we were on our bus. And one of the musician guys came over and said, hey, can you go do this? And I said, yeah, man, I'll go help. And he walked off the bus, and Aaron looked at me and said, are you fucking kidding me? Why would you go do that? You're the artist. Tell him to get off his ass and go do it himself. You're bigger than him. Don't forget that. Treat your, but then that's a whole nother cookie where I love having relationships with my guys.
Yeah.
Like I love my guys because again, they make me look good. And Aaron wouldn't think that at any point.
Okay.
So,
but you guys still keep in touch?
Yeah, we still keep in touch. Not as much. I mean, he doesn't answer a lot of my text messages. Most of the time, he doesn't. His road manager does, though.
Okay.
He loves me. Pete's a great guy. He lives out in the same area as Aaron does. Pretty much.
St. Mary's, Tennessee?
No, in Massachusetts.
Oh.
When Aaron goes back there.
Gotcha.
He still has the house out there.
I don't even know if there's a St. Mary's, Tennessee. I was just assuming it's something outside of Nashville.
No, and Aaron has a house in Tennessee. It's I've never actually even seen it.
Okay.
But I know he lives there.
What's next for Travis Marvin? Do you know?
I think I have options, and I love options.
Yeah.
I'm not a guy who likes to think there's only one thing that I can do. I started consulting a company that's a promotion company that is going to be
locally.
The company is local, but we're going to be national. We're looking for. I've gotten probably 18 venues that are anywhere from a 1,200 seat venue all the way to 7,500 seats. and
you're promoting artists.
concert.
So you're okay. You're
So we're
the
the
concert promoter.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
we're the concert
Gotcha.
promoter. So I started dibble and dabble in that. I don't understand all of it. Believe it or not, I don't. Even as the guy that's been doing this business for the last 13 years, there's so much more behind it. I was the guy that walked in the door and said, "Here's my music. I'd love to play your plays. This is my cost."
Yeah.
Yeah, great. You're hired. Thanks. Here's the date I want. Thanks. You're good. See you. Bye. See you in that
Back
date.
when it was so simple.
Yeah. Now there's just so much. There's so much more with the promoter. It's just a ton.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so I started kind of doing that to kind of understand it more on the business side that I don't know about. So I'm kind of trying to educate myself a little bit more deeper. You know what I thought about doing, and I've asked maybe in the last 6 or 8 shows where I deemed it necessary or being able to ask the question. I think that I'm going to stop the Travis Marvin solo gig. I do think that. That's pretty close to that, saying yes 100%. Now, what that means is this, that the idea of me being a solo artist is no longer going to be the case. I'm still going to write music. But what I'd like to do is I love 90s country music. I love it. I can sing it. I'm very, my voice is molded for a 90s country sound.
So we're talking like Clint Black.
Yeah, easy.
We're talking Garth, obviously.
Yeah, you want the list?
We're talking Clay Walker.
Yes.
Dan Singletary.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Not Dan Singletary.
David Singletary.
No, it's not David Singletary.
Yeah. I don't know. Rob. Q.
Gosh, damn it, that's terrible. Anyway, I digress.
But yes,
Rick Trevino.
Well, yeah,
Red Akins.
Yes, all those guys.
Yeah.
Say Alan Jackson, you name it.
Yeah.
Brooks and Dunn,
Yeah.
Ricochet, you name it. Right? I would love
Black Hawk.
Yeah, man. You kidding me?
You're gonna need some harmony.
Well,
just give me a
so
call.
Hear me out. I think what I might do is I may go to Nashville, Tennessee. I know, or Oklahoma, or Texas, and hire a fiddle player, a pedal steel player, a keyboard player, 2 women for vocals, because they're going to sing Rebas and the Shania Twains and the all those.
Patty Loveless,
Strawberry Wine. Who's that?
Trisha Yearwood.
Yeah, right.
Dina Carter.
Right. Reba. I mean, go through it all. So, and then that's 5 so far, and then hopefully maybe another male vocals as well, and literally put together. I told you this.
I know.
Literally put together like a 2-hour fully produced from start to finish show of 90s.
Are they going to be dressed up like Reba? And
Damn
do
Skippy.
This is going to be Vegas on the road.
I'm just saying, and here's the thing: is it's not cheap. It's a well put together show that I believe people would pay $20 to $30 a ticket for, and they'll come in and drink a lot of beer because that's what people that listen to country music 90s do.
Yeah.
Because they're all in that age range from that 25 to 45 years old. It's a big wide range.
It's bigger than that.
Yeah, probably. So any venue that would tell me no is they don't. Then they're fool. I think they're fools. As long as the show.
You want to create an all-star 90s country jam band.
Right. And it doesn't have to be Travis Marvin and the Misfits.
Yeah, so like you're going to have other people, like you're going to have a handful of different male singers, obviously, right? And maybe you're going to handle Clint Black and like some of these guys.
Garth and George and you name it. I can handle all those guys. Kenny and all those. Yeah, I mean, it's the idea is this. So nobody's doing it right now. There are people that are doing like a tribute group to Garth Brooks. And it's all Garth Brooks shit.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
This is an idea where it's everything. I can have a different show if I wanted to. We could have a different show probably for about 4 months straight, 2 days a week. Different show. Every song's different. If we wanted to, we could do it because there's that much 90s country to go through.
So your mind has completely shifted from being Travis Marvin in the neon lights to now I just want to play music to enjoy my life playing the music that I love and try to make as much effing money as I can.
That's right.
Okay. Fair enough.
Bill Gaither and the vocal band. Here we go. I'm just saying. Now, it doesn't mean, like I said, though, it doesn't mean that I quit. I can still come back and play a show or two a quarter.
What are you committed for the rest of the year?
The ass loads, rest of the month, rest of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm booked.
Have you booked it? Have you told anybody like, look,
No,
as of this date?
No.
So this is
First time
on the Papa Ron podcast. You heard it here first. Travis Marvin is hanging up Travis Marvin.
Yeah. I mean, that's
like
I said, I'm not 100% sure yet.
Every freaking band does this though. Every freaking
I know.
the farewell tour.
That's why
coming
I don't,
back is.
No, that's why I don't want to. I don't. No, here's the thing. Once I walk away from the idea of it being Travis Marvin, I'm done.
But you just said you would probably come back and do a show here or there.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah,
but so I guess
which
it's
is
not
it?
fully done. It's just it's not 100% where I'm committed.
Okay,
I'm not.
It would be by demand, not because you're pursuing an opportunity.
Right. I'm not trying to become the next.
Yeah.
Whoever, and I know that maybe disappoints you because you said you don't want me to quit my music career. That's not me quitting. That's just me shifting.
I get it.
The idea that I can go out and make $3,500 or $2,500 a show right now, and when I can go and have a fully produced show and make $30K.
Here's what I think.
Go ahead.
I think that you do whatever the hell you want to do that's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
One. But I also think God works in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you least expect it, something will present itself.
No, and I agree.
And I think that you should not shut the door on the idea of Nashville, even if it's in the capacity. Maybe it's not Travis Marvin and Neon Lights. Maybe it's just you got a publishing deal.
Yeah.
A really, really good publishing deal.
Yeah.
And you're in a network with guys you feel really comfortable and writing songs with. And, it's not you singing it, but, Blake Shelton, Kenny Chesney.
Sure.
Whoever, Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, they're going to take that song and take it to number one.
Yeah.
And it's going to make you a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I'd love to.
Look, but that's where I'm saying is like, you go do what you got to, you go do. You're a talented guy. And I don't want you to be 80 years old in a nursing home looking back on your life and saying, I wish I would have tried.
I know that I won't. And here's one thing I want to tell you. The last thing I said was this, is that if I made this decision after the Aaron Lewis tour, because I got to play at the Ryman, because I got to play at, every House of Blues that's available, twice, by the way, not once, twice. If Travis Marvin died tomorrow, or let's not go exaggerate, let's not get extravagant. If Travis Marvin lost his voice tomorrow, I couldn't sing another note, I could not perform again, I would not be mad.
What?
No.
I don't believe that for a second.
Buddy, I'm fully satisfied with what I've done in my life. That's true,
Jeez,
Ronnie.
Dude,
I'm happy.
It's very depressed.
You know how much things I've done?
I don't think you are.
Yeah, but you know how many things I've done that so many can say they can't say they've done?
That is true. I mean,
a lot, man. I've had a lot of opportunities.
You had a really cool life experiences.
If I can go through a list, I've always said it now, that you name anybody you want to name in the country music from 90s on, and the majority you name, unless it's Garth Brooks or George Strait, I've opened for. Mm-hmm. Name them. Mm-hmm. I mean, the list is huge.
Oh, yeah.
In 13 years.
It was just in the time that I worked at the radio station,
ridiculous.
Every freaking show that we did.
Every dang one of them. I mean, I've been in front of all the fans, and I've played in the Ohio State University Stadium with 137,000 people in front of me. I've done it. And if I could keep doing it, then great. We're still alive. Do you want to know how long it's been doing that?
Well, we're at 2 hours and 27 minutes.
Yes.
And the wheel is spinning on my computer right now.
That means you out of space, boy. Just joking. Hopefully it's still working.
I'm freaking out right now.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I don't know what to do here, Q. What do I do?
Is it spinning? Yeah, it is. It's been doing that for since we started after.
No, it can't be, because I got 2 hours and 28 minutes worth of freaking content recorded. Right.
We still working?
So it just started, but it's not recording right now. and I don't know what to do other than.
Can you space bar it and start it again? Is it going to delete it?
So.
Oh man, you got the death wheel spin. That thing sucks.
This might turn out to be audio from the camera, so let's just keep rolling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do this. Let's answer some text messages here.
Yeah, let's do that real quick.
All right.
We can do that, man. Now listen, I don't have to play music. I don't have to. It's people that we can tell them where to go to find the music and grab anything they want to grab. You know. Q looks like he's about ready to take a nap.
What artist would you like to tour with?
What artist would I like to tour with? I'm gonna say, golly, if it was an older artist, I would have loved to have toured with Alan Jackson. I would have loved to. I mean, I just think there's a lot there. And I think that, I don't know Alan. I've played with Alan. I've opened for him, but I don't know him. Never met him. From what I see, he has a life and maybe values of like compared to what I have. Okay, seems humble. Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Whether he is or not, I don't know. And probably one of the very few artists I don't know. If it was a newer person, I would probably, it'd kind of be cool to open for Church. I mean, I like Eric a lot. Mm-hmm. Not that he's really newer. Shit, he's probably 10 years old. But I like Eric a lot. I like Keith a lot. I think I met Keith in 2002 when he was a major alcoholic and drug addict. And I've seen the advance and change that he's made now. And it would be cool to meet him now as a clean person. Because I met him and he was hammered off his ass.
Sure.
I mean, he could barely walk, and they had to bring him up the ramp and put the guitar around his neck and kick him in the ass to make him fall on stage, but then he never missed a note. And he was so jacked. But I would love to do those guys. So what else you got?
When did you know that you wanted to play music for a living? We already asked that. We already covered that.
Yeah, I was age-wise, I was 30. Okay, I got divorced when I had just turned 29. Or not just turned 29. I was 29 years old when I got divorced. And then at about 30 in May, I decided that I wanted to do music. Full time, I didn't decide till about 32. So.
The other one is just asking asking how we met. We covered that. And the other one's asking about if you duck hunt.
I don't duck hunt. I really don't. I mean, I don't. So I love to pheasant hunt and quail hunt. And I haven't done it for years, but I used to do it all the time when I was younger, in high school and stuff.
Well, I love you, brother. I think this little spinning wheel is giving me anxiety. So
I know it is.
We're gonna find a way.
I need a cigarette. Let's go.
We're gonna wrap this baby up, even if we have to finish. Somehow, I hope that I can save the first 2 hours and 28 minutes of really good audio quality, and then we'll lean on the camera audio to finish this thing up. But thank you. I love you. I'm always here for you.
Yeah, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Travis Marvin.
Come on.
Thanks to Q, Marathon Media Management, for always being here. I'm Ronnie Phillips. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Papa Ron Podcast. If you enjoyed this show, hit subscribe now and tell your friends on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and other social platforms. To participate on the show, leave a message with your comments or questions by calling or texting 816-558-6389. That's 816-558-6389. Until next time, thanks for listening to the Papa Ron Podcast.